time to spill the secrets.
This is Universal Secrets with Tiffany Mack and Kevin Hale.
It's Tuesday night. You know what that means.
It is Universal Secrets with Tiffany Mack and Kevin Hale.
May 28th, 2024. T-Mac, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Good. Thought
Yeah.
it was Monday all day.
I
And
did too.
when it hits you that it's really Tuesday, especially in the real world, working,
Mhm.
5 days a week, it's a feel-good moment when you
Yes.
it's Tuesday.
Yes, I agree.
Which means I get to see you, hang out with you.
Mhm.
Kids, everybody's out of school, graduations
Yes.
and all that.
Everything's over. We had a great graduation party for my daughter, and the weather held off during the time of the party, and we had a little bit of storms. We had some
Sunday night.
crazy weather Sunday night. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had 2 tornadoes come through and just sort of, demolish the area. We had a lot of trees down. So that's pretty typical in storms for us, unfortunately. But yeah, everybody's good. So
You
we all
got
came through.
you got lots of trees.
Oh yeah.
Lots of joy. Lots
Yep.
and lots of them.
Yep.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Good to hear that. We are streaming live on this Tuesday night. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Appreciate everyone hanging with us in the chat. Tiffany, this is one of those nights where we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna laugh. We might laugh more than we don't laugh. Which is okay.
I expect that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have to be so serious, right?
Yeah. You can't. I mean, I've always said that you and I could do a show at a morgue and it'd still be entertaining.
Yeah.
It's an idea. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like it might be a little illegal, but I mean, I'm sure we could find somebody to let us in, right?
Get permissions. Get permission first. But then, when you got more,
or just ask for forgiveness and just do it anyway.
See, I like the way you think.
I know. Yeah.
So, tonight, obviously, we, Universal Secrets, this reboot, season 4, whatever we want to call it, we've gone everywhere. We've gone in the religion Bible rabbit hole. We've talked about sex trafficking, the secrets,
the dirty,
ugly,
secret.
dirty, ugly secrets. And then, we have our occasional cryptid, Bigfoot. I know you want more, and we can do more. And we have our UFOs and aliens, my go-to. But I do like the occasional ghost stories, investigations, hauntings. Someone was asking me the other day what my favorite horror movie was all time. I think it's The Exorcist. But one of the close ones, maybe not my favorite, but one of the Amityville Horror. Did you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. The priest
says it has some dark truth to it, and that's what those
actually,
two probably you're probably drawn to those because they are very.
There is
some of the darkest feelings that you could possibly imagine being taken over, and that's like losing control of this functioning robot that we are, and that's too much. And the fact that there are some very strange situations surrounding those events and that there is some truth to them, it's pretty scary.
I'm counting on our guests tonight to bring us some strange, interesting, hell, if they play an audio where a demonic voice is telling us to get out, It's only gonna have to say it once.
Yeah.
It's not gonna have to repeat that.
No. And you know what? You only have to be faster than the slowest person.
That's true.
Yeah. Kevin, I hope you have one of your grandkids around. You can throw them there's your sacrificial lamb, little Mila.
Grandpa tripped me.
Yeah, well, Grandpa's alive.
I know. Well, I'll send help. I'll send help. All right. So, Tiffany, what do we got? What are we doing tonight?
Well, tonight we have some of our friends from Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. So we've got a lot of good stuff coming in tonight. We have all the things that you had described earlier. When
lions and tigers and bears.
Sorry, there's something floating in here. I can't see what the hell.
It's an orb. You can't get it.
I can't catch it.
No.
Well, do your magic and bring them on because
right.
my computer is dysfunctional.
Yay.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we've been called worse.
We're only a few minutes into the show. Give us the time.
When you guys said something strange, you definitely invited the right guests.
Yeah.
Something strange.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, good to see you too.
It's been a while since we've seen you. It's Kevin, do you even remember how long? 3 years?
I think Lincoln was president. I'm not sure.
It was
Like,
back in the 1900s. Carter.
Carter. I think it was President Carter. That's
We all shared jelly beans and
Well,
now you never know what's in your jelly beans. You can only have one of them.
Yeah.
Here's the cool thing about like tonight, Tiffany, is that we will eventually, hopefully, Tony and Cherie will show up. So we'll have 6 voices. How do you all do a show? I mean, aren't you all kind of talking over each other?
It's funny you say that because we pointed it out and we've seen shows have that happen sometimes. It's natural to happen. You got that many people, talking, but I think it's because we belong together. The 6 of us work so well together. There's obviously no egos or, this is about me more from any one of us. Right. And anytime somebody on our show starts talking over somebody else, the person who stepped on the other always goes, "No, I'm sorry, God, you go." And then sometimes we have that moment of silence when nobody's talking. And when somebody
that does happen.
But yeah,
so there is such thing as dead air on your show.
Very much so.
No pun intended. Yeah.
No pun intended. Yeah. Well, last week, speaking of, see, Tiffany, they don't talk over each other. Last week, we were doing I think it was last week. We were doing a show, and if you said it once, you said it twice. I'm getting ready to talk. Hold on, Kevin. So you could.
I did.
Then, okay. So
I kicked him to the curb twice, and I was very shameful, and I apologize.
I'm gonna make it.
You're a fabulous co-host.
We're gonna do a watch along Monday night, and it's together, and they're gonna show us how they do it.
We're gonna say, "Oh, Hale, no."
No, hell no.
Oh no.
For those, and what's kind of cool about our chat is that there's a lot of people in our chat that know your show, know you guys, and love you guys. But humorous, how did this group of misfits hashtag the beautiful people? How did you all get together? What was the
how did we mesh
or meet?
North Carolina team, take it.
Yep, North Carolina.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because we just had last week our 4th anniversary show.
Yeah.
And we actually described exactly what happened. So 4 years ago, Tony and Cherie and Audra and I we all lived out in Arizona before we moved to North Carolina.
Okay.
And we ran the Ajo hospital, the Copper Canyon Paranormal Research Center together with them, doing tours and stuff. And it was right before COVID hit, and we were all sitting around one night, and we're like, "Hey guys, how do we get our evidence out there? How do we get the hospital out there? How do we promote stuff?" And the idea came up that we do a show where we show our evidence. Well, the idea also came up. Was like, wait a minute, what if we brought on other paranormal investigating teams and showed their evidence? And then we were all sitting at the bar, and I looked at Tony. I said, "Here's the problem. I've been doing this for 20 years, but nobody knows who the hell I am because I've never been with a group."
Right.
So Tony said,
Oofy.
"Hey, Oofy. Hey, Ronald."
Hey, Ronald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tony goes, "Well, hang on. Wait a minute. Why don't we have you and Audra on the show as our first guest?
Mhm.
And then boom, then we'll start the show, all four of us as hosts." And then it went on from there, and we had groups on where we'd bring other groups on and show their paranormal evidence that they caught at investigations. And the people that way were one of our guests one night.
Mm.
And then they were such great guests that when Audra and I were moving to North Carolina, we couldn't do the show for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. All our stuff was packed.
So Tony reached out to Ron and Lourdes and asked them to be guest co-hosts. And then when we finally landed in North Carolina,
Guest co-host,
Yeah.
not co-host.
Yeah.
You had more-
Yeah.
Tony,
It was a temp job.
yeah. Tony reached out to me and goes, "Hey, did you catch any of those shows when you're on the road?" And I said, "As a matter of fact, I did. And those guys were phenomenal." He goes, "What do you think about bringing them on permanently as hosts?" And I said, "I think it's a phenomenal idea. Let's do it." And then that's how the 6 of us started.
Six
Dun,
of you.
dun, dun,
So
dun.
when the 6 of you are on screen, which one of you all are Alice?
She is Alice in Wonderland.
As in the Brady Bunch, yeah.
Oh, that Alice. Oh.
That-
Oh, no.
Let's say it's Tony because he's not here yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Tony's not here, so that's
Yeah, he cannot defend himself, and we don't have to fear him until he shows up.
So is Tony, I guess, is the ringleader. You know, he's the one that got.
He's the
Wait a minute,
catalyst.
that's right. You all started KGRA the same year as us, 2000,
Yes.
right? Or 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had been doing it on our own before KGRA.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were going to Facebook and YouTube, and then and that's when we got invited onto KGRA, where you guys were.
Mhm.
And then we all know how that ended up. So
Well, where do you broadcast now?
I produce the show, and we go live to Facebook and YouTube, but UNX also carries us.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So UNX comes in and kicks us to their audio program, and it also goes to their YouTube and their Facebook page.
Okay.
But
All right. So
as
you're
far
still
as
with
producing-
Race.
Yeah, as far as
Mhm.
producing
Okay.
the show, I
Yeah.
produce the show. We all get the guests together as a team, and then we all run the show together.
That's awesome. He's such a fun guy to work with. Race Hobbs is one of the guys that really held my hand.
Gang's all here.
There it is.
Now
Sorry,
it's a
guys,
party.
you're late.
Sorry, it's only 5 o'clock here, so it makes it.
Oh, you did good.
Yeah.
Oh,
How's everyone?
Good. How about
We're
you guys?
good.
We're here. We made it.
Yep.
not sure. Yeah, that view. Okay. Thanks for centering
There you
yourself.
go. That's
Yeah, you did
awesome.
that.
Perfect.
Oh,
I don't know, Tony. It actually looked better when we could just see Cherie.
We saw
Yeah.
half of Tony. You know.
what's that? Should we move a little bit?
He's joking, honey.
Oh,
That was a
kidding.
joke.
It was a joke.
Darn it.
Tony, Cherie, do we need to like rewind and catch you all up, or you good? Or...
No, you're fine.
So
So
we were
I'll-
basically just
but-
telling Tony how EVPE started. Basically the same story we told last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to our viewers. Yeah.
A condensed version.
Yeah, condensed version.
And Tony, it sounds like if Tiffany and I were ever guest co-hosts on your show, that eventually it will lead to a full-time gig.
That occurred for Ron and Lourdes. It did. It
He
did.
did.
Mm.
So
What you
I
got
was
there?
wondering, when it comes down to the shows that we typically do, most of them are geared towards UFOs. But what have you all ever attributed any of your investigations to something more unearthly, or are they typically more earthly spirits and souls and people that just haven't quite gone on?
Yeah, let's see how they answer it. Come on.
Yeah, I know. They said they don't talk over each other, so they said they're going to
It's
figure
going to
it out.
happen here, though. Here it's going to happen. We're going to look like liars.
Yeah.
It looks like Audra had something to
Well, I
say.
was
So let's
just saying it depends, because we can do, your basic investigations, which Tony and Cherie and Ron and Lourdes still do, and Chris and I are kind of old school. And then you bring Staticom into it, and you kind of delve into something that we just don't know. So that is definitely, I mean, Ron, Lourdes, Tony, and Cherie have always said that. Yeah, it can certainly be
It's a possibility.
something else. So yeah, that's
interesting.
always possible.
Yeah, the introduction of what Ron and Lourdes started with DRV, and then the escalation of it into Staticom. People ask us all the time, simple question, well, how do you know who you're speaking to? The fact of the matter is we don't. Cherie and I have asked the question knowing we were talking to spirits, because they'll tell us, who are we speaking to? Spirits. They'll flat out tell us that. So then I said, okay, if I can speak to spirits, can I speak with extraterrestrials? And they clearly answered, yes, you can. So do we know the limits of Staticom? No, we don't. Do we know even slight boundaries? No, we don't. Could it be taken out into the woods, and could Bigfoot communicate? We don't know. Is it possible? Could be.
So is this a device that you all have started working with, or is this just a program that you're working on when it comes to investigation? I'm not familiar.
It's a method.
Okay.
Ron and Lourdes brought back a method that began in the late 30s, called direct radio voice, which got literally obliterated by the spirit box when Frank Sumption created it. Well, Ron and Lourdes brought back direct radio voice, and then when we joined them, we created Staticom. The real difference, and maybe I'll let Ron and Lourdes explain it, but why don't you guys go ahead and explain the differences between what DRV was and what Staticom is today?
Oh, Staticom is today an enhanced, improved version of what direct radio voice was when we brought it back in 2019. And in large part, and make no mistake, Team Rathman has a lot to do with that. They've been on board 2 or so of the 5 or so years we've been doing direct radio voice, and then into Staticom, and their involvement and the level of progress and the efficacy of the method is beyond noticeable to us. And like everybody else you see with our team, Chris and Audra, some of the best people, if nothing else came out of doing all this spirit stuff, except for the 4 people that we are now friends and family with, I would be happy that I made the move to do it. So I'll say that first. To go back to the other question quick, the aliens and Bigfoot, and we just did an event with Get Haunted at the Shanley Hotel this past weekend that was trying to show the commonalities, and it had Ronnie LeBlanc from Expedition Bigfoot. They had a CE5. We sat outside around a fire pit in the middle of nowhere, sky watching, and then we did Staticom, and it was amazing. And there are genuine commonalities with the research. I have a slightly different perspective as far as the idea of extraterrestrial communication that has nothing to do with the limits of Staticom, because when Tony says we don't know the limits, he's right, because he's pushing them all the time. So he knows. But I think there are certain things that we try not to sway too far away from science or from academic things that we know in principle. And there are syntactic problems with language translating. Like you can't translate Wales, which communicate, into English, though you can translate Chinese into English. We have thought templates that are inherent in who we are as humans, and there are a lot of referential things in our language. Like, to understand the idea of a show streaming, you would have to understand what a stream is to get the concept, right? You'd have to have the empirical experience of a stream to know what streaming in the other context, which is abstract, to say a show is streaming. And an extraterrestrial race from another planet or universe wouldn't have that. They would have to manipulate the inner workings of our mind to make, and this is what mediums have happen,
To show a picture rather than use a word.
Yes, symbolic or
Right.
metaphoric to get
Right.
your brain or mind to represent the message to itself.
And
Which
that
is
makes
why
sense.
I think
Right.
mediums could do that possibly even more than our system, because we hear our system in the language we know.
Mhm.
And there's no translation component between whatever's coming in and then what comes out of Staticom. So I hesitate on the Staticom side to say aliens for that reason, to not jump ship too far from what, you know, science and academia would tell us. But yeah, Tony's right. White noise, it's all we use. Direct radio voice was a vacant AM channel. Through us doing a zinc mine under the surface of the earth, which we get sometimes going, have you ever tried Staticom in a Faraday cage? Don't need to. We've emulated every aspect of a Faraday cage by how we made the process. Now, we were in a zinc mine, no cell signal, no radio signal, nothing. Boom, we got voices.
You
Tony,
can still hear it, but there shouldn't have been any electrical interference that would have.
you couldn't get a signal down there
Right.
under the ground at all.
Okay.
Tony did something above the ground that was equally compelling and quite honestly, and I say it every show we do, very ballsy, because he got a live audience and he didn't care if he fell on his face because he was about figuring shit out. And he used a sleep machine he had with him and he got voices. That's pre-recorded white noise. Staticom uses generators that make live white noise in real time. We filter it, amplify it, and then the one thing that we're all doing that was a first in ITC is we're slowing down the flow of live white noise in real time, which has made tremendous difference.
Damn, I feel smarter.
Every time Ron talks, I feel smarter and dumber at the same time.
Thank you. That's exactly how I was thinking. I'm like, okay, so now we need an engineer.
Yeah, I was like, who's going to follow that up?
And let's see.
We have the greatest team. The smartest thing we ever did was accept the invitation to work with these four people. That's the smartest thing we ever did.
Sweet. I got you.
Ron's must be coming up on an anniversary raise, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a 4-year anniversary. I'm waiting for my EVPI car.
Hang on a minute. We get paid for this?
You get enough to get a car? Kevin.
I don't know. Jeez.
I like the idea though.
Yeah.
I'm not paying for it, but the idea is fantastic.
The idea of getting paid sounds good.
Yeah. One of the most bountiful Satacom sessions we ever did, just to kind of speak to that point, was at the Montgomery House in North Carolina when all 6 of us were together for the first time. Holy crap. It was unbelievable how much stuff we got. It was extremely interactive. And I think that, you know, not to sound metaphysical woo about it, or not even metaphysical, but just mystical woo, I should say. It was, I think the intent and the group of people at a location that was prime for it worked.
Absolutely.
You say the intent, but do you feel that you all have some psychic gifts, each one of you, or anyone in particular, or a sense of instinct that goes along with your technical findings?
They're all pointing to the significant others.
Okay, anybody.
Chris and Audra and Lourdes would be the ones.
Yeah.
I believe everyone has the ability, and when you use it, the stronger it gets. And I do believe, since we are all doing this together, then when we work together and we get along so well, that intention got concentrated and we got really good results.
Yeah.
So to let everybody know what we're talking about, so Tony and Cherie and Audra and I used to live together and used to do the investigations together in Phoenix. Then we moved to North Carolina. Tony and Cherie went to see Ron and Lourdes in New York 2 years ago.
Yes.
And they did a 4-mansion tour together with them. We've seen Ron and Lourdes at Gettysburg a couple times. Then the 6 of us had never all been together
In one room. Yeah.
So last year, all 4 of them came down to us here in North Carolina because we have an 1830s plantation home that we run investigations at for the Historical Society.
Nice.
And all 6 of us were together at one time for the first time. And we did an investigation together. We did an old school investigation, and then we finished it off with a Staticom portion of the investigation.
So cool.
It was the most activity we had in that house in the 3 years that we've been running it.
Yeah.
Can you
We
can you
have to
humor
know.
me? Humor me when you say old school. Wait, what are you exactly saying?
Old school, we laid down cameras, we laid down digital recorders, we went through, we did EVP sessions. We just did old school investigation. When you guys hear their clips of Staticom, you'll understand.
Gotcha. Okay.
Staticom is you all sit down, they have equipment that they use for the Staticom, and you sit around as a group and let the spirits come in, the entities or energies come in and talk to you while you're all sitting in one area.
It's
Right.
kind of like a
Well,
seance.
The first half where we all went around and talked in each room and walked around, and then we sat down and did Staticom upstairs.
Yeah.
Right. And Cherie just not to let that slip by. She just described it perfectly.
Yeah, it's a digital seance. We did a seance and sit down. It's like an EVP session with the
With
staff.
two-way communication.
Yes.
See, I'm with
Alan, yeah. Alan does good stuff. Yeah, old school tape recorder.
With the big reels.
Get one of them Flintstone cameras with a bird and a chisel, whatever it takes.
Nothing's wrong with the old school.
No, it all works.
Yeah,
No, old school is the very foundation upon which Staticom evolved.
absolutely.
Direct radio voice was there was a Frank's box, Spirit box, Ghost box. That was much older. Came out of EVP research in Europe. So when we brought that back, that was old school. And then through our partnership now, that's what's made it a little bit
That's
newer.
how we all connected because our main focus was EVP. We all loved it.
The only thing difference with the old school is that you record it, replay it, you have to review them. While Staticom, you don't have to record it. You can actually, right there in front of you, you can hear the question and answer response with,
And then you can follow it up with another response.
Yeah.
It's true two-way communication. Cherie and I have had up to a 7-minute conversation.
Wow.
Truly real
Holy
time.
moly.
Real time.
Real time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin,
And Tony-
do you know what I'm thinking?
Usually I do, but not right now.
Where they should go, where they should come?
To your place?
To the magic tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, share what you got lurking.
I went there in high school, but there was other things involved that had nothing to do with it.
So we have a massive 600-year-old bur oak tree on our property, and there's this stream that runs beside it, and it used to be on the main Oldham County Road. So I think that it was sort of just this stately tree, and they just left it as a way to mark where you were. It's been there forever. But we tried to do an EVP session down at the tree with, I'm not sure if you know the name, but Terry Lovelace. He's a experiencer and had some implants. And what we got was a little freaky, but we have these voices of little girls in the woods a lot of times. And they're just like whispering, like, we're over here, or they're over here, they're over here. Do you hear them? That kind of thing. And it's always the same types of comments, very similar to that phrasing. But we would love to be able to hear something that you could communicate 2 ways with down there. I mean, in a place that we know is 600 years old and had that many people passing through, and
Sure, yeah.
so
that's perfect for Staticom.
Yeah.
that's what it sounds like. It sounds like it would be a perfect opportunity to do something like that.
Okay.
Especially since we already hear stuff. Yeah, get it scheduled. Yes, let's do it.
Now I got to ask the proverbial cheesy question. What was your all's first paranormal ghost experience? Or what was that moment that you were like, oh shit, there's something here. We need
There's
to.
so many.
What was the first? The
very first.
Yeah.
Well, the very first, we can't say that because when you were brand new, you're learning. Oh my gosh, Tony and I, we thought those orbs or whatever.
The dust.
Those are our first time, so we don't want to say that. It's so embarrassing. But
You talking about dust particles falling and flowing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our very first. We thought it's like, oh my gosh, that's orbs.
I believe that's you saying that.
I know.
I'm
so
Let's get that on record. That wasn't.
Yeah, I'm so excited, and then I posted on Facebook. I'm like, oh my
that's dust. That's dust.
Yeah.
The very first time for us was Hotel San Carlos, and she tricked me into. We'd always go to a hotel, hang out by the pool, and drink for Valentine's Day weekend. She said, "I want to do something different." And I said, "Okay, what do you want to do?" She said, "I want to go ghost hunting." And I was like, "Oh my!" Because I was a non-believer. I didn't believe any of it.
Very skeptic.
So I took her because I had two choices: take her or have her mad at me till next Valentine's Day. So I took her, and I played along. I asked questions. I did everything she wanted to do. Made her happy. That was all I cared about. I thought, okay, now we're done. But she got the stuff home. There were voices on the recorder answering our questions. There were things in photographs that weren't there when we took it. She even caught a video of a full-bodied apparition reflecting in a mirror, and I was blown away. For months, I couldn't figure out how this could have happened. So then we went back, and I said, okay, maybe there was a vent we didn't know, voices coming through. Maybe there was light shining from somewhere we weren't aware of. Nope, none of that was the case. We ended up coming back with even more, and that's how we began, and it's been going on over 14 years.
Yeah.
Wow. First of all, thank you to Alan Rex for the kind words. Yeah, we get a lot of love from the community. We love the community. We always say it's not great because we're in it because it's great. And man, and something about Tony that I don't like to slip through the cracks either is he built ghost boxes for like 12, 13 years and really good ones. Quiet, nicely running ghost boxes. He's unsung as a hero in that area because he didn't sell them. He was purely into doing it for research, not to knock the selling of it, but that wasn't his game. So that was another reason we loved him for the direct radio voice and then eventually Staticom stuff. But when somebody who's done that at that level of quality tells you, as he can and does, that he hasn't turned one on in 2 years since he's been using just pure white noise, that says a lot.
Oh, wow, yeah.
But the difference between the two is just phenomenal. You're not fighting the static sound because we believe the voices come through stochastic resonance, which pushes the voice above the white noise. Then we cut the white noise out. You have nothing but voice, and it's clear.
Mm.
Do we have samples of any of this that you all have brought?
We do.
I have them right in front of me. I'm sure everybody.
Yeah, I've already said pre-show, which you weren't here for. No, I'm joking. That once you all are ready to start sharing, I think you all have the access to the present button, and they'll go for it.
Well, Kevin, you're just letting me sit back. This is awesome. They came up. They've got all this stuff ready. I love it. That's fantastic.
Put your feet up. Let's see.
Grab your drink.
Does your toenail polish match your lips? What's going on?
Nobody ever sees my toes, so it doesn't matter, Kevin.
Okay. All right. So, that the fact that Tony didn't sell his stuff.
I wanted to.
I know.
He's still trying to. He's still trying. I'm like, no.
Yeah, now I don't respect him because he won't, because I want to buy one for my shelf because he is one of the ITC greats of our time, and I want something to do. I want one of them.
Which tells me that his main agenda is the passion his interest in doing this. So, which basically says also that you all probably could have been on, Discovery Channel about 5 years ago, if you would have sold out. So, all right, I'm not. I have to ask this, and I've asked this with other guests, with whatever genre or whatever field they're in. Have you all experienced professional jealousy?
Oh.
I mean, to me, it's so. From what I see on social media, which, if I didn't have grandkids or a podcast, I would not be on social media anymore. It's so fucking ugly. But I mean, seriously, I mean, you guys are so into it that I can feel the passion. You know, Chris, the skulls. I want to know where the bodies are with the head. You can,
Why he left Arizona.
So do a lot of people.
So let me just say this: there's a lot of woods in the area where we live.
That's some bad juju.
Yeah. Have you all? I mean, are you all experienced that kind of stuff?
I'll take this one because
Please.
we've all experienced this. Here,
Well, here's the thing. To the point where I know a couple of y'all are some big dudes. To the point where don't make
no. What I can tell you is the six of us here. We preach, we live, we practice, and there's nothing that'll ever change it. We encourage
sure.
para-unity.
Mm-hmm.
And it is we all work together as a group, and we all work together in the same field, and all of our goals are we're investigators and researchers. We're not ghost hunters, right? Everything that we do is to move the field forward.
Yeah.
Anybody that steps in the way, we avoid. I mean, we just literally avoid it. I mean, does it happen? We see it all the time. We literally withdraw ourselves from that and don't even get involved in it.
Yeah.
So you're not ghost hunters. You're not ghost adventurers. You're just.
There comes a point after maybe 2 years, 3 years of constant investigating that you're not looking to prove they exist anymore. That goes away. And you move to another platform where you want to know, okay, how much, I mean, we were fascinated with EVP, same with Ron and Lourdes, same with Chris and Audra. That's the one commonality, that getting that answer out of nowhere, or not nowhere, but from someone who's not physically standing in front of you, that was a fascination that could never be put down. That's why we transitioned then from EVP to ITC or spirit boxes. And then when DRV came along, to be able to get full sentence communication, that was mind blowing. That's why we turned it into Staticom. But, you know, you evolve as to what you're looking for. And we're not questioning whether they exist anymore. We want to know how much information can they share? What are they willing to share? What else can they tell us? How can they help us grow, is not only for as individuals, but as, you know, the human race. Will they do that? Can they do that? And those are the answers that, you know, we're kind of, there's so many other ones. Don't get me wrong. I pinpointed a couple of things, but there's a million things that we're trying to chase and research and find out. I mean, somebody says, well, you know, have you asked this? Have you asked that? How were the pyramids built? Did Atlantis exist? You could spend 20 years just asking the hundreds of thousands of questions. Yeah. So have I asked those yet? No. And those were brought up, 3 months ago? And have I had a chance at? No, because there's just so much to do.
And there's no jealousy with other people, whatever they're doing, the professional, because Staticom is the only one exists right now. So you can't compare to other whatever they're doing. We have different stuff.
Different methods, different styles.
Exactly, yep.
Yeah, I'll give you two things on that question. One of the things that the spirits tell us, whoever's coming through tells us the most, and I can document this with statistics, is the word Rathman. They say it a lot. It comes through all the time. I don't care where you are.
Yeah.
They say it. Yep, they say it all the time. We ask for it now. It's like, just say it.
What is the purpose? Do you think it's because they know who created the communication technique?
No,
well, I think it's a combination of a couple things. One, Cherie and I did spirit box communication for 12 or 13 years before ever touching DRV.
And so do you feel that you have a connection to the other side?
Absolutely. And then when we started doing DRV and had just begun, like a week into it, they went and asked Ron if he knew me.
Ooh.
Matter of fact, do you have that clip, Ron?
I do, sir.
This would be a good time to play that.
Yes.
We could do that. Yes, that's. I think it just as I try to find it, which could take a few hours. No, kidding. I do think that from them having a connection, that's why they succeeded when they started doing direct radio voice right out of the gate. That's true. But the other reason I think that they'll say stuff like that sometimes is because it shows intelligence. If we ask for it, it shows communication.
Mm-hmm.
When you ask for something and somebody tells you what you asked, that's communication. I know that one of the ghost boxes that are out there can record the sweep in the session internally without any room or ambient contamination. But by doing that, you're literally throwing out the baby and adopting another baby and throwing that one out with the bathwater because you lose timing and relevance if all you have is what comes through. It's just a word. It's not a response without the question. It's not a Q&A. It's just an A.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think that's important. So the Tony's your friend one, is that what I'm looking for?
Correct.
Yeah.
Say hello to my little. Is it?
Yeah, this was pretty. I have the folders with everything open in them. I don't have a playlist put together. That would have been responsible, and that's not me.
But literally, they
win.
asked Ron these questions, and when Ron answered, when we went back after talking to Ron, him explaining what happened, my DRV at that time, because it wasn't Staticom yet, communication just went off the chart. So it was almost as if they were like, do you know this guy? Do you trust him? Is he a friend of yours? And yeah.
Tony Bonchi, this is it.
Okay.
All right, I think I got it.
Drum roll.
I have it. So now I gotta do the share screen thing and then change screen so I don't look like that whole infinity mirror effect.
Hijack our show.
It's been nice talking to everybody. Good night.
Technically, they can present, but you've got to bring it in, Kevin.
Well, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, you'll see it.
Not yet, not yet.
You'll see it in a moment.
Okay.
I'm doing share the whole screen so the audio comes through.
Yeah, make sure you share the audio too.
Yeah, I have that checked. I have a witness here. It's on the record.
While you're doing that, I got a question. Here's an oofy question. For the brain trust, what do you think the other side is like? Have you asked them?
I think the other side is consciousness. I don't think it's a place as far as any sense of proximity would explain. I think it's consciousness. I think we're each a dissociative identity off of consciousness, which is why we share a transpersonal space. That's why we have a connection. Why we experience the same world visually and audibly. But I think that all the experiences we have, even with communication, I think it has to do with consciousness. I think the other side is universal phenomenal consciousness from which everything emerges, including us.
Yeah,
I always ask that question.
Correct. But you guys did too. Ron and Lourdes, you asked that question and they gave you an answer. Do you remember what they said?
Yeah.
What did they say?
Tony's your friend.
No. They said it's complicated.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, and the reason I was trying to remember what you were talking about was because that was a guest at a digital seance event who asked at the event, what's it like on the other side? And the voice said it's complicated. And I said, I heard an answer. I was not sure what it said. And then another voice, a male voice, first one with female, said it's complicated. And then I heard that one. I repeated it. And then the male goes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pet peeve of mine, Tiffany. When you look at someone on Facebook, you see their status. It says relationship status. It says it's complicated. Why do you put that out there?
That means that they're probably real right now, and it wouldn't really matter if they were able to date you. That's what I'm going with, Kevin. So if you ever see that from me,
From you,
come in, pick me up.
all right. So
I got the clip ready. So Alan Rex had a question in the chat about an ITC thing. So we can either answer it in the show. If not, Alan, you can message us directly afterwards.
Jeez. Ron, Tiffany is still the host of this show. He's like going straight to guest questions. I'm kidding. Take over.
There you go.
I'm for the people.
Feel free.
For the people. All right, so
let me go get a glass of wine, I guess, if we're doing this. No.
I'm ready.
Just kidding.
Go. Try it.
Sounds good.
My friend. I would agree. You say voices.
It does sound good for sure.
Usually no.
So what does bachi mean?
Tony, you wanna?
Marcello Bacci. Marcello Bacci used direct radio voice for about 40 years. He was tested by scientists, and they even removed the vacuum tubes from his radio one by one, and he could still get voices. The only thing they could remove from the equation to stop the voices was Marcello himself. So Marcello Bacci was one of the gentlemen who used the direct radio voice method and was very successful with it.
Yeah, he put it on the map.
They're saying that Bachi knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he passed away. I don't remember how many years ago, early 2000s, I think. But he was most famous for doing direct radio voice, and he was getting stuff with a vacuum tube radio that blows away what any ghost box has ever done. And I couldn't understand how nobody was doing it, and it wasn't on TV. You know, right. We owe the TV pioneering movement for opening up the field and making this digestible and acceptable to talk about. But by the same token, you know, everything has a good and a bad side, and there were some detriments that came along with it. This might not be a popular belief. I do think ghost boxes work. I just bought the new spirit box that came out because it was sentimental to me. I believe they work, but I don't think that what Sumption did was a progression of where ITC was. I think it was a diversion. I think it was an alternate way to do it. It was not taking everything that was fundamentally working and expounding upon it. It just did something else. It was a different modality.
There's a different theory behind it too.
Yeah.
Theory behind a spirit box is that ghosts, entities, spirit will rearrange the fragments of radio into their own sentences. I can tell you through our research, they don't need radio at all. In fact, the only thing radio does is disrupt the communication. White noise is all that is needed.
Okay. That's what we believe.
So I don't know if you remember this, but when we were young, you know, the end of programming, you'd have white noise after, and I slept to that so often. Mm-hmm. What was I hearing during those? Was I talking to people? Because I would always I would wake up in a tizzy a lot, very emotionally charged, like somebody was talking to me. Could that possibly have been just sort of a line of communication that I may have opened mentally, yet didn't know it was happening?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, science says today, if you hear voices and white noise, whether that be a fan, an air conditioner, that you're suffering from musical ear syndrome or schizophrenia. I don't believe that to be true. We proved that in white noise, which has no vocal data at all, that there are voices there. So why couldn't it be in a fan, in an air conditioner, in the static on the TV, just the same way?
And Tiffany, you're saying, I'm sorry, Tom, I thought you were done.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. See how we roll? So we recovered. we recovered.
Go team.
Thank goodness. You're saying, Tiffany, that you heard voices, or you felt like you had heard voices when you woke up from when you were sleeping?
When I slept with the TV on at the end of the night, we would sort of watch until the end, and then I often felt like I was hearing people talking to me while that was
while
happening.
You were awake still, though, while you were still awake.
No, I think it was more like coming in and out of consciousness. Like, I don't know if I was being distracted, if somebody was trying to get my attention. But I did stay in some haunted homes. I do know that there was some sensitivity to that. I just never put two and two together at all, ever.
Yeah.
With this cast of characters, Tiffany, you need to share some of your more ghostly.
Well, if I was asking because I was trying to determine how the experience may have happened. If you were waking up after sleeping and thinking that you had conversations or heard voices, or if you heard them when you were awake, you're always in consciousness. The only way to go out of consciousness is to die.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You're always in consciousness. If you're not,
I have a lot of lucid dreaming too, though. So
that's
the white noise modulates the experience, right? So, and this gives a foundation for it. Like right now, there's radio stations flying past our head. Music, we don't hear it. It doesn't hit our sensory input, our dashboard, or perception doesn't tell us it's happening. As soon as the device modulates the experience within which our sensors can read and pick up on it, boom, we hear music.
Right.
The white noise does that with what we call these voices that we're hearing. It modulates the experience so that we are able to perceive them where before we would not. So if it happened to you while you were sleeping, you fell asleep to white noise, you woke up and felt like you had a conversation, you probably, through consciousness, did have some interaction that you weren't aware you were having because you weren't metaconscious, which is to say you're aware that you're aware.
There's so many things that you guys are saying right now that are just triggering because of the kinds of experiences that I had when I was young. I always felt like I was crazy, like there was something going on. Like I knew that I was hearing speech and people, and I didn't see them a lot of times, but sometimes I did, and then there was a different type of communication going on as well. But there was never any kind of control, so you always sort of feel more in fear, I guess, more than anything else, because you don't understand and you can't control it.
Right.
So I think
but now it makes sense.
It's
starting.
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole concept behind the way Staticom works is the same way when you're at a haunted location and a spirit speaks and you hear it with your own ears. Mm-hmm. There's white noise in the environment, no different than white noise being generated into Staticom. Mm-hmm. And if they can manipulate Staticom through stochastic resonance to bring their voice above the level of the baseline of the white noise, they can do that in a natural environment. That's how you hear direct voice, where spirit says something, everybody goes, "Oh my God, did you hear that? They just said this." It's the same principle.
What about music? Do you hear music through it?
No.
Through Staticom?
Yes, through Staticom.
No. Through Staticom?
Through Staticom. Never anything that sounds like melody or. What about singing?
Tiffany?
What about singing?
I think we heard one time, like there's a angelic sound when you're
a sound, not tone after tone.
No.
A single sound, we've heard that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
But
it would be fascinating if we did get something that sounded musical in nature, because we're not using a radio anymore, so signal reception is not a factor. So I would love to get something musical through it now. But
maybe you can ask.
Yeah,
I will. I'll ask them to please, after the saying Rathman, play music.
Because if you can manipulate
question 1,000,001.
if you can manipulate a sound or a voice, why wouldn't you be able to manipulate a tone through the voice?
Bocce would have them a choir sing every time they ended a session.
Yeah.
That's right. Very
Yeah.
good. And we used to ask for that in the beginning of DRV for like
When we first started.
2 years or so. We would ask,
Yeah.
"Can you give us the choir thing you gave Bashi?" And we didn't get it.
Okay.
We didn't get it.
Wow. This is a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be. I'm thinking like we're going to ask some light light questions about spooks and stuff, but
We're not throwing softball questions at these.
No, I'm just
professionals.
I'm feeling heavier than I really thought that it would. So
Okay.
That's okay.
See, Tiffany, I've told you this show of ours
Mhm.
is also not only for for me as a paranormal enthusiast to hang out with you, to talk paranormal, but I do think with every show, the paranormal journey you've been on and continue to be on, you're going to get some answers.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
I
that's
have-
always the intent, is to get some answers from all of these experiences and being able to pull people's experiences together, because not only I would love to have things written down, and I would love to journal, but when it comes to journaling some of the experiences that I've had, you guys have this whole company. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts, but you have it very tightly bound together. I can see that you all work wonderfully together, and you have this ultimate goal. If I wrote down all of these things in a journal that I've experienced my whole life, I'd be thrown in an institution. They'd be like, okay, lock the door and lose that key, because
Shame.
So I appreciate that you guys are so dedicated to doing this, because I think that a lot of people would probably see the amount of material that you go through, all of the audio that you listen to, and all of the video that you try to find. What is going on? Am I going out? Am I blacking
You're
out?
freezing up a little bit.
It froze, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. But yeah, I think you've got,
we're connected to.
I give you a lot of credit for this, because what you're doing sounds amazing. It's like the next step in the journey towards finding out what is on the other side. And I can't wait for you guys to find the answers, especially if you can communicate 2 ways. Holy crap.
We don't know
if they come on this show and give the answers.
Yes,
even
do.
better,
That would be awesome.
I may never find the answer.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever, with any absolution, have the answers, but between how we've tried to vet our method, how rigorous Chris and Audra do their sessions when they do investigations, our goal is to try to get the closest, most reasonable, most parsimonious explanation to what reality and what's happening might be. Mm-hmm. So we go to great lengths, including now we'll get into, I guess, a little bit as we go along, a philosophy of consciousness we call analytic idealism, because when people go, oh, that stuff's not real. But in order to have some kind of a barometer for what's real or not real, you have to have some kind of idea what you think reality is. And I don't think a lot of paranormalists take that extra step and go, what do I think it's real? They just try to adhere to the science of materialism or physicalism. And then they go, it doesn't fit into that. You science materialists can't measure this stuff. And then they try to prove it to those people by cramming it back into some kind of material explanation. Of course, we lose the argument. That's a paradox that we're throwing upon ourselves. It doesn't work. But we're trying to get the closest to being able to have an educated guess as to what might be happening.
Do you have a group that you connect with and share your expertise into some kind of class-like format? Have you all ever thought about doing anything like that? Because you sound like such a cohesive unit.
We do something called TDSI, or the Digital Seance Initiative. That would be the closest thing I could think of that would fit into what you're explaining. Mm-hmm. This is when the general public, whoever wants to go to these events, comes in. They get to hear it. They get to ask their own questions. They get their own answers. And, that's not bouncing it off other, I think you used the term experts, which, I don't know if that term applies to paranormal, but, there's definitely people that know more than others when it comes to certain areas. So No, we've never. Well, I guess that's not true. We're writing paper, an academic paper after doing the paranormal symposium in Gettysburg in June.
Awesome. That's going to be awesome.
I'm sorry, August.
Yeah, it's in August. Well, yeah, we're presenting Staticom or ITC and analytic idealism, which is a philosophy of mind. And I was hoping he was going to bring that up because the TDSI events are good for awareness and experience for people. But the lecture presentation, and we're talking about trying to do more maybe conference stuff like that. That stuff's important. And we'd like to get Chris and Audra on the speaking circuit at some point as well.
Yes.
I've got 2 academic papers written. One of them's already published in academia. It was top 5% for several weeks, which I was stunned at. And it's an alternative view of stone tape theory and psychometry that doesn't clash with science, but it allows for the experience to happen.
Wow.
And that's something we're trying to do now. We're trying to look at what we say, how we explain what we get, and say, if you have a theory or a hypothesis that flies in the face of science, you've got a bad hypothesis. You've got to take what science knows and work with it, or suffer its wrath if it does explain out of the equation what you think's going on. But and a lot of people out of convenience do what's called spiritual bypassing. They just go, oh, ghosts just know how to do that. They just move the letters around and make words that are random with no latency in process, like some kind of person on crack playing Scrabble. Just moving letters and sounds in the right place. It's absurd. If you think of it from a physical point of view, it's absurd that would ever happen.
Right.
There's got to be something else going on. So
I got to say this, Tiffany. It's been thrown at us a few times in the past, several times. Universal Secrets, they have all the great looking guests. Tonight, we're proving it. Not only looks, but brains.
Brains tonight, too.
What about us 3 guys?
That's what I'm thinking. What the hell?
Yeah. Lourdes, Cherie, and Audra clearly have the looks and brains part down, and we're just the paranormal bouncers.
I like that.
I have a clip ready because I know Rathman wants to see some clips.
Let's do it.
This one identifies whatever or whoever we're talking to as consciousness. And it also identifies as Tony's friend. Tony's ghost will intrude on any session, anytime.
Let's hear it.
So we share screen again. And then Tony, if you have any queued up that you want to show next in line, I'm just going with the whole idea of consciousness we were just talking about. And so here it is. Boom. There it is. Just stop looking at me because that's not pleasant.
And don't forget Chris and Audra, don't they have clips too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but bring it up.
Are you scared of me? And I gotta pee. I should have peed on this one. That's so silly. I hope I wasn't mute.
Hey, FYI, Lourdes, can hear you.
Yeah, it's not muted.
If you need to go take a break, you're more than welcome to, Lourdes.
Yeah. I'm like the cheat.
If you need to go make some popcorn, make some popcorn.
Lourdes is blushing. That's the first.
Oh well, so now you know.
Oh, well.
Excuse me.
This is what happens when you have a beverage. You gotta go with it.
Why couldn't Lourdes take the camera with her?
But yeah, there you go. We haven't done that
That's
before.
a whole different type of show, Kevin.
She's used to when we show clips all the times on the show, we don't do a share screen. So it mutes the microphone by default.
Yeah, where we know to mute it just from our end. So.
Yeah.
Well, here's a little break. I'm gonna show everybody my new gift. I showed Kevin this already.
Oh, how cool.
Aww.
Isn't he cute?
What's the symbol here? What's
the line?
The
Wow.
Harry
It's
Potter.
a piece of wood, and it's a cracked piece of wood.
Yes.
I thought that was
I was
awesome,
thinking maybe it
though.
was tattooed because I'm
No.
really into that.
No, isn't that cool, though?
It's a Snake Plissken of aliens.
That's right. That's
Find your
the
boyfriend.
Mike Tyson of aliens. That's just
It's a
have
tattoo.
you named it, Tiffany? Does it have a name?
Well, he's Buddy. I don't know.
Greenie.
This is Gumby. We got Gumby too. Don't forget about Gumby. This is my
So
Gumby
as
too.
we,
Oh.
oh yeah, Gumby.
He's not really Gumby, but he's hilarious. I
He
need
looks
to
like Gumby.
he looks like
I need to figure out who sold it to me. I can't remember, and I'm bad at collecting cards. I usually do, but so I can have like a little display and let people know where they came from. But
So you should take the cards, Tiffany, and tape it on the bottom.
yes, I should.
There you go.
I know I have it. I just have to put it on there. That's what I need to do.
Yep.
There it is. Todd with
Coco.
Hey, Todd.
we logged on right.
Perfect timing, Todd.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's Coco 1.
Okay.
Yeah, those Cocos.
Those-
Dos cookies.
Those.
That's Spanish for those Cocos.
Have you all ever done an investigation or been on location where something paranormal, something caused
Physical.
no, or not just, I mean, to the extreme, have been where they've caused death
A
or
heart attack or
something?
fear.
Yeah.
Thankfully, no.
No.
Knock on wood, no.
So
Kevin, you can go on one of these tours. I don't think that you will be sacrificed to the gods that night. I think you can handle it.
We'll keep you safe.
So
Yes.
Kevin, I've been doing this since I was 26 and I'm 51 now, going on 52. And
See, now you're showing off, Chris.
Yeah. So I've actually been experiencing stuff since I was a child, but I have one time come across something negative,
Yeah.
and that's
Really?
it.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, we say it on our show: an asshole in life is an asshole in death.
Mhm.
So the negative stuff that people usually get is just somebody that's just a jerk.
Jerk.
Okay.
Have you ever
the
been
problem
touched?
Oh yeah, but last Saturday.
So Tony's been touched, Lourdes been touched, and Chris has been touched.
I actually was recently, I
Audra?
think, too.
No?
I won't allow it.
Ron?
Like it.
You just block it off. You cannot touch this body.
Yep.
That's smart. Okay. And that's the other thing I had sort of wanted to talk about. Like when you all go in for an investigation, you go and set up. Do you take some form of spiritual protection with you? Do you put out some intent and some boundaries before you go?
Yep.
Okay. Has anyone forgotten and had a problem?
I've never had a problem.
I have.
Who
But
said
my
that?
problem was sitting right here. She literally
Okay,
gave,
this is my fault, really.
What in the world? Okay.
she gave them permission to use my energy.
Oh,
Literally gave them permission.
sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you tell him that you were doing that?
Say that again.
Did you tell him that you were going to sacrifice him that evening?
Did you give
You were
Tony
there
a
when
head?
I was asking.
Yeah,
the
but you
question.
didn't tell me you were going to.
That's
She
what I'm
also
saying.
just heard him say it.
This is, oh my gosh, scares me to death. We were at the
La Posada.
La Posada at where is that La Posada again?
Winslow, Arizona.
Winslow, Arizona. This is our very, very, not very, very, very first time that we're actually doing an investigation, like traveling, go to a haunted location.
The city used to be covered with underground mines. And I'm sorry, not mines, tunnels.
Yeah.
That would run all throughout the city.
And-
Town, I guess, is a better word.
Yeah.
But a lot of them were connecting to the La Posada Hotel. Now, some of them are blocked off now, but they're still there.
Yeah.
We were down in them.
Yeah. So I asked the spirit, I said, Spirit, can you please try to communicate with us, blah, 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 etc. Please use my husband's energy.
Not
That's,
mine.
oh my God. It's really bad. I learned my lesson. I'm very, amateur at that time.
And you
Seriously.
used me. As,
That's what I said.
you didn't say use your energy.
No, not my energy. What
I love when she says, I told him as I asked the question.
So he knows already because I'm asking a question.
Yeah.
He's my husband's energy. You're big.
You ever heard the phrase "voluntold"?
Yeah, I was voluntold.
You are keeping
multiple times.
You're keeping the wife stereotype alive.
It's like running him over, then honking.
I'm not going to do that anymore because we actually I paid the price because something happened to him, and so I was trying to pray because I could hear her speak to me. I said, I couldn't even repeat the prayer with her. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. Listen to me, follow me, word by word. He goes, I can't. I was almost going to call 911 because he's like shaking, or it's not his sugar, but it's something really, his mind is.
That was a mess.
It's crazy. And then I just asked him, let's step outside.
Wait a minute, it's not his sugar?
Well, because I can tell.
Meaning I'm diabetic. My sugar wasn't
like the sugar was out. Yeah.
So you went there first before, like a ghost doing or a entity doing something. You were ruling out his sugar first.
Well, yeah, because you
because I was shaking that it wasn't because of that.
Yeah, because I can tell whether his blood sugar is dropping or high. I can tell whether if it's like spirits or something entity that affects him. It's totally different. So
it wasn't a medical issue. It was something different, is what you're getting at. Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that when his Tony's eyes turn red or start glowing? You really?
Oh my God, that scares me to death.
I got to know this. Did you get any great EVPs at the Shanley this past weekend? I don't know if y'all were ready.
Yeah, we were just there. It was very good. Yeah, we did not as much EVP work as Staticom stuff because it was all different stuff. It was UFO stuff, the cryptid stuff. Ronnie LeBlanc from Expedition Bigfoot spoke. We spoke on the philosophy and Staticom stuff. We ran Staticom. It's a great weekend. We definitely got some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess you're going to save it for your all show and not this show. Okay, I get it. I read between the lines. Right.
I got one from that I could show if you wanted to.
I think I got distracted. I think I distracted Tony and Cherie. Were you all pulling something up? Were you
and Chris too? If you have any clips ready?
Yeah, there was somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, they got okay.
Chris is not static.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
This is just an example when you were talking about what kind of information we can get. Well, what I wanted to know is because we don't broadcast our voice, and if spirits truly are energy and don't have physical ears anymore, how do they hear me speak? When I speak, my voice produces physical sound waves which travel through the atmosphere. The human ear has follicles in it, which picks up the vibrations that gets transferred to the brain, and the brain transfers that into what's being said. Well, if a spirit doesn't have human ears and I'm speaking with just my voice, how do they hear me speak? And that's what that's exactly what I asked.
Well, you're
here. What?
You're Tony Rathman. They all hear you.
That is true.
Okay, we're going live.
How do you hear me speak?
So there's your answer, but it's really interesting because they say energy of the mind. Well, how many people have done EVPs where you get the answer before you even finish asking the question?
Yes.
That's why. It's got nothing to do with
you humor me and play that one more time?
Sure.
He's like, damn it, Kevin.
And see, and I think when he talked about all the questions that people go, who built the pyramids and stuff like that, I think that this question that he asked has more of a meaning, to a purpose to it behind what we do, because that's that's another thing that we started doing that I didn't see done a lot in ITC, was that everybody was focused on the incoming voice and the clarity of it and how, how are they coming through? And I never heard anybody talking about how are they hearing us?
Yeah.
Right. You get a voice that maybe it's a baby monitor or a CB radio or a ham radio. How are those people hearing us? Mm-hmm. We're in a room. The sound wave only propagates so far, like Tony said. It's got to be something else. This, to me, was an extremely meaningful question.
Tony, turn the volume up just a little bit more, if you know. Mm-hmm. And Lourdes, you keep talking over the.
Oh, I won't do that anymore.
No, I want you to.
But thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
Kevin's going for the R rating tonight.
Yeah. Energy of the bladder. That's the thing.
All right, here it comes.
How do you hear me speak?
So energy of the mind, that's the thing. So what it's saying is it's mostly telepathic, because like Tony just said, you would get an answer before you could get the rest of the question out, because it had already been formed in your brain and hadn't yet traveled to your mouth, but they don't need that in order to communicate and get what you're saying.
Kind of. So, yeah.
Okay.
I would hesitate to say formed in your brain, because that would suggest that the vocal was endogenous or coming from within us, communicating to ourselves. What we think is happening is that it's not even telepathy necessarily. It's communication, as in the voice is modulated, and then it's coming through. But it's mentation, it's thought, it's mental processes. Right. Just like when we think. Mm-hmm. We have thoughts, and most of the time, to be honest, linguistically, most of the time in our lives, we spend more time talking to ourselves with inner dialogue than we ever spend talking to other people.
Good point.
Yeah. But I mean, it's really consciousness returning, or those thoughts of consciousness returning to universal consciousness. And that's how they're probably receiving it.
Right. That's the spiritual connection between us and anyone else and anywhere else and any other point in the future, the past.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we agree with
so
that.
That means, I mean, that's a really great answer for something that we've been trying to figure out, is maybe we don't need to know the actual distance of the next civilization, because it doesn't matter how far that distance is.
Well, think about the other part of what you observed too, how fast the voice came in.
Practice.
Right, the voice came in superluminal. That was faster than the speed of light, which then to suggest that it is not something applicable to laws of physics, or it wouldn't be able to do that. And we know that the laws of physics exist. So if it's consciousness, it doesn't have to traverse any distance. We are within consciousness. Consciousness is not within our brain. Our brain is within consciousness. Mm-hmm. So the answer comes that fast because we are already within the origin from which it comes. Right. We think.
And that sort of suggests that we are not necessarily angelic beings, but supernatural beings as well.
Yeah, natural. We believe natural. We think as soon as you look at this stuff from that perspective of reality being mental.
I would go more, that's how we're all connected, like you said prior. Okay. That we're all connected. That's how we're all connected.
Your spiritual emphasis is spot on. I agree with that 100%. I think the worst thing to happen to spirituality is the word spirituality, because it made it seem like something separate from reality, and it's not.
So do you feel like there is a religious connotation to the type of spirit that you're communicating with?
I think if there's a religious connotation, it may be from us. I know Tony has something. I saw him ready, and then I said something, so that's my answer.
One of the hardest, you were asking questions about, people being either envious or egos getting in the way, and social media comments and things like that. That's part of the challenges when dealing with something from the paranormal side. You got people who don't believe you. You got people that believe everything that they see. You've got people that want to pull apart anything they see. That's challenge one. Challenge two is that what we're doing with Staticom is it bumps up against two of the biggest organizations on the planet. One is science. The other one is religion. regardless of what religion.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
So we battle all three of those when we try to create something new, something that may not fall in line with every aspect of science or religion or what people believe. And that's the challenge, without a doubt. That's the challenge.
Yeah, very important, very well put. And it is a conflict with belief, right? Because when somebody proposes like the Evereshian many worlds interpretation, every time you decide or do something, another world, universe pops into existence every second, every millisecond, and a whole other timeline plays out. That is completely illusory. You can't empirically experience it. You can't check it. You can't falsify it. But they don't question that because it's not science that's being challenged. It's a paradigm.
Right.
Science is not on the table. It's a paradigm. What we're saying is challenging a paradigm. That theory, I think, is almost bizarre, right? Every time something happens, that's a theory that allows for everything, explains nothing.
Mm-hmm. Too chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
Coco is asking, this is for the team, what is the most memorable experience during an investigation? And I have to say, before you answer, Lourdes, you broke the seal because I got
Oh, me too.
gotta walk
Damn
away.
it. All right. We'll be
This
right
girl
back.
has to
You
go.
better stay
Kevin, do
really
you have
quiet.
any music?
You know,
This
we
guy's
we don't need to. They're our guest co-hosts too. They don't know that. But yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We
Everybody
shall
be
return,
really,
guys.
really quiet, because I bet you that door right behind Kevin is his bathroom. I want to hear him flush.
We didn't know. I'm sorry.
EVP, I need to pee.
Break time.
Let's all walk off and just go.
All right, see you guys. They
So
literally-
while we're all sitting here around, what do you think? Should we play some more clips?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here's the problem: is the hosts that pull those clips in are not here.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding.
Chris, you have one ready?
I have a few, but do we?
Let's
have
do it.
time? I don't think we have time. We can't pull it in.
We just
Yeah,
have to
without-
share- No, when he comes back, of course, share screen and then show one.
To answer Todd's question, my personally most memorable experience during an investigation was Trans-Allegheny.
Yeah.
The very first investigation we did at Trans-Allegheny, I stepped out into the hallway, and there's a long story behind it. I'm not going to get into it because I don't think we have time. But ultimately, we were doing a group EVP/EMF session/REM pod session in Dean's room, which is the Dean's murder room. And I sensed something out in the hallway, and I said I felt something out in the hallway, and somebody asked Dean, should Chris step out in the hallway? And the REM pod went off. So I stepped out in the hallway by myself. I looked all the way down at the end of the hall, and I saw a shadow figure. Not my first shadow figure. I've seen many, many, many shadow figures in my investigations over the years. But then I had this creepy feeling. I looked to my right. I saw another shadow figure in the room next to me. And then I turned around and I saw a mist starting to form. And that mist formed and came up to about a 5'6" tall shadow figure in front of me. I saw 3 shadow figures in the same hallway within a matter of a minute. And for the first time in almost 30 years of investigating, I actually was shocked. I took a step back. This is the first time I'd ever seen that many shadow figures in that amount of time. And somebody stepped out when I said to the team, I said, guys, I'm seeing 3 shadow figures. This is insane. And somebody stepped out and took a picture. Let me pull that up.
Oh, cool, yeah.
And you guys, the EVPE team has seen this before. Whenever you want to show that, Kevin. Somebody stepped out and took a picture. Can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Mm. And this is what was right in front of me. So the first shadow figure I saw back here. The second shadow figure I saw over to the right in the room over here. And then this one formed right in front of me. And that was the first investigation that I'd done in my entire. I mean, I've been chasing the paranormal since I was a kid. This one actually shocked me. I'd never seen 3 shadow figures in less than a minute in my entire life, and this was at Trans-Allegheny. And guys, I've done countless numbers of investigations since I was. I mean, I literally started buying equipment at the age of 26. I drug high school kids, friends of mine in high school. I drugged them to haunted locations. I've been experiencing stuff since I was a child. I've been a sensitive since I was a child. But you can look at this picture and you can see the outline of the V-neck. You can see her hair. This is a female. Somebody took this with a full spectrum camera, and this was in the red spectrum of light. So, Todd, to answer your question, what is the most memorable experience? This is it. Now, imagine seeing a 6-foot tall shadow figure down here and a 6-foot tall shadow figure to your right, and then having this right in front of you, all within a minute's time.
So this color just materialized in front of you as well, or was there a light beyond that we're not seeing?
To the eyes, it was black. It was a black shadow mist.
Do you have it in any other?
No, this was actually sent to me by another investigator that was with us in the group. So they took a picture with the full spectrum camera, which takes a picture in 32 spectrums of color, and this was caught in the red spectrum of light.
Well,
but
I've gotten goosebumps a few times tonight. I don't think I'm going to sleep well.
Oh, you want better goosebumps than that?
Just turn on that white noise.
Okay.
Right.
Never again.
The last thing you hear before you go into a beautiful somber will be Rathman.
So let me stop and reshare it again because I forgot to share audio. Oh, there's the audio. Okay. This was also caught at Trans-Allegheny. This was in the lobotomy section.
That's what I need.
Here you go.
I might have to get one after tonight.
No, is that what I saw? Or
Come on.
Let me play that again.
Yeah.
Make sure the video player volume's all the way up too. This one's nuts. It's on the other side there. All right, you're 100%.
So this was caught on our digital recorder in the lobotomy section of Trans-Allegheny.
Not hearing it, are you guys?
I heard
It's
it.
faint.
I heard it. It's faint.
It's faint.
It's very faint, but
It's Kevin's fault.
so those sounds.
Guys, we have the same problem with our show with
The
StreamYard.
StreamYard.
StreamYard tends to kill the.
Yeah.
So what you don't hear what you're not hearing is there's a really faint no,
Yeah, very faint.
and then you hear 2 mallet hacks and then a scream. And anybody that's ever been to Trans-Allegheny or done the research on how they did lobotomies back then, there was these 2 devices that were like an ice pick with a slight hook on it.
Oh, God.
And they had this mallet, and they went right here.
Yeah, and the orbital socket and break through it. Yep.
Yeah, into the eye socket, just deep enough that they could scramble the brain in the front lobe. And
It was supposed to separate the material within the skull, which I've never understood. Why in the world would it? But why? What was the? I mean, they really just thought, let's just go in there with a knife and just scramble it up. Why?
The doctor that did it believed that the emotions were controlled at the frontal lobe of the brain, and if we scrambled it and removed that, they could live a normal life. Well, they did hundreds of them at Trans-Allegheny, and these people did not volunteer for it. There was no anesthesia. It was all forced lobotomies, and only 96% of them died.
I can imagine.
3% of those left died within the first couple months. Only 1% survived. There's only one guy alive today that had a lobotomy at Trans-Allegheny that actually survived.
You know, John F. Kennedy's sister
Mhm.
had a lobotomy, and she was, I think, about 16 or 18. You can see pictures of her and little videos of her, you know, sort of having some distant behavior and then sometimes laughing and then showing some normal signs. Yes, she seemed aggressive, but I'm always thinking that it's just teenage angst more than anything. You know, every kid has an attitude at some point.
Right.
But then just going and getting them scrambled, and then she was almost vegetated
Yeah.
for the rest of her life, even though she did live a long time. So, but how can that's not functioning though? You know, they end up looking, they look very simple and childlike from then on.
Well, the scary thing is like Ron's explained, the consciousness is probably still there, but the physical capabilities are not.
Absolutely.
There's no connection.
So if you could look into their mind, they're probably consciously there. They're able to communicate, but physically, because the perception is that our physical bodies make a difference in this world, they probably just, it was a blank sheet, but consciousness was actually probably still there.
Absolutely. They're absolutely
not about that. Yeah.
So they probably thought tabula rasa would be the best idea. Just but that doesn't really work when you scramble somebody's brain.
Right.
No, you're messing with the transceiver through which consciousness flows, through which memory flows. Too. Memory's never. Thank you, Don. Memory's never been found to be stored in the brain. It's the conduit through which we access memory. People with Alzheimer's sometimes will have complete memory recall 48 hours before they pass. What they call terminal lucidity.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not stored in the brain. So when you poke around in there, you're going to affect states of consciousness. So you will have altered states of consciousness.
Right.
Some people have what they call sudden savant syndrome, I think, where from a brain injury or sometimes something like that, they will all of a sudden have like this expertise level of being able to play music, to hear a concert pianist and then play a concerto, like, and just like to have all of a sudden like an acquired skill at an exceptional level that they didn't have before as a byproduct or an epiphenomenon of something changing the way the brain functioned.
Some other thing gets stimulated and creates this
Or
outlet for
yeah.
All right. Thanks for confirming that, Chris.
I was wondering what they were laughing at.
I left my mic on, Tiffany, when I walked away.
Kevin,
dude, last week you forgot that you forgot the door.
Yeah. Well, Kevin commented in the chat that he accidentally left his mic live. He told me there wasn't any audio, so I was just letting him know we heard the plug.
You want me?
He forgot to close the door last week, so you guys can go back and check that one out. He's like, no. Just
all right,
teasing.
staying with Don. What do y'all do with vengeful spirits?
That's a Chris and Audra question, I think, or Tony and Cherie if they want to do it. We don't really have that.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Well, we've done private investigations of private houses where it depends. If the people want us to cleanse the home, then we cleanse the home and release the spirit. I mean, we basically bless the house and drive the spirits out of the house, get the energies out of the house. Vengeful spirits, I mean,
I don't know if we really run
just that one up in Elks. What the hell is that name of that town? Elk Grove or Elkhorn or little bitty town up in North Carolina. We got called in by another team and they asked us if we could help bless a house and clean it and cleanse it. And we actually found that there was a huge amount of energy in the house, and especially in the basement. And there was one negative energy in the house that was just, to be frank, he was just a dick.
Mm-hmm.
He was just a dick. And when the room where he stayed, I went in there, we were blessing the room. And I told him, I said, here's the deal. I said, you either leave now or I'm going to send you where you belong. I will send you on. And we literally, the three other people that were with us actually shit themselves because you heard him go down the hallway and out the door.
Footsteps go out the front door.
And you literally heard his boots hit the threshold of the door as he went out.
Wow.
And this is daylight, so people that always say, "Oh, it's at night when
Oh,
the
no,
spirits
this-
come out." No, they're out all the time.
Yeah, this was at
So,
2:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It was broad daylight. So
What would be a typical way to bless a house and try to make a spirit that is unwanted move on?
Tony's done this too before. I'm an ordained minister, have been for years. We've done multiple weddings. I did Cherie's mother's memorial. We've blessed a number of houses here. Basically, what happens is I go through with holy water, blessing salts. We leave the doors open so the spirits have a chance to leave. Audra does a saging behind me because you don't want to sage anything negative before blessing because it can piss them off. So we basically go through and we did Lord's Prayer, reach out to the Saint Gabriel and ask him for help, and basically bless the entire house and push the negative energies or the negative spirits out. It's not negative energies. It's negative energies because they're pissed and they're messing with people that are living there. So
Do you bless the people as well that are living in the home?
Yes.
Do you give them a blessing as well? Okay.
If they ask.
If they ask, okay. So would you think that mostly items are possessed, inanimate items, or do you feel like people are more possessed?
Both. Yeah.
Both. Okay.
It depends. I mean, the whole thing. I mean, even using the term vengeful spirit, that's teetering on the demonic word.
Yeah.
14 years of doing this, we've maybe come across something that I would consider very dark. But I even use the word demonic? No, I probably wouldn't. The house had to be exorcised, and they did do that. But, does demonic stuff run around like Hollywood and television likes to? No, it doesn't.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
I know.
We had to clean, and we kicked the spirit out that was there, and we had recording of its voice. Cherie left a recorder on the bed when we were done, and I was explaining to the woman, okay, you should be good now. And the voice left a very nasty message on the recorder. I don't want to repeat it all, but it was F you, Tony, we'll get you. 2 years later, I get a call from a guy in Las Vegas saying he's got strange stuff happening in his house, sends me, he said, I think I hear voices. Can you listen to this? He sends it to me, and the first thing I hear is, and we're back, Tony, F you. 2 years later.
Same voice.
Same voice.
Right. That would qualify as vengeful, I think, but But at the same time, it also speaks to a non-locality, and then where time, space, or space-time are measures of proximity that we have, but that consciousness is still the foundation for everything. Right? Because in order to have space and time, which are proximity-based, you have to be conscious to experience proximity, which is an experience. Consciousness is where experiences come from, not the other way around.
Right.
So that 2 years was something to us. It was nothing to them.
Nothing.
Right. Well, and to add to what Ron says too, the consciousness is the amazing thing about it is some of the spirits that we've encountered. Michael's followed us.
Yeah.
Good example.
But to also
Michael,
to add to
what?
that,
I'm sorry.
there was a spirit there was an energy. I call them energies.
Yeah.
There was an energy at Phelps Dodge Hospital that identified itself as Michael multiple times to Tony and Cherie. If he was his same voice, same response, same name, followed them to the Philippines when they did their investigation in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is he also presented himself to Audra and I in Tombstone when we were doing an investigation at Tombstone. Same voice, same name, but it was from Phelps Dodge Hospital that we first encountered the spirit, which
So
means
when
they
you-
can travel over space and time, and it's the consciousness. It's not the same as it is with us.
Do you
But
feel that?
Go ahead.
Do you feel that you can connect with those entities at any given time if they're sort of out there just listening for the invitation to come back and have a chat with you guys?
Couldn't see why not.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you could if they want to.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So do you ever feel like you've come across, besides that one sort of vengeful spirit, have you ever come across some that would be more of a guide that you would consider them, somebody who could give you advice on helping illnesses or helping humanity in any way?
That's a great question.
I don't know if I go that far.
No.
We have, I think everybody has their own spirit guide, which is somebody close to them or somebody that was close to them or somebody that's been assigned to them. And it's just somebody that's trying to help you give advice in the long run. Like my spirit guide appears to me sometimes as a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
But then at certain times when things have gotten super intense, he's appeared to me as a man. And I've actually had other mediums approach me and say, you have a spirit over your shoulder. But
oh, wow.
Tony's spirit guide is a female.
Tony's spirit guide's a female?
Yeah, her name is Cherie.
Well, then I won't ask the next question I was going to ask.
Oh, no.
Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do this.
Yes, and her guidance said, go ahead and use his energy.
Yeah.
I'm in his guidance.
And his wallet and everything in between. And she controls more than my spirit. Pretty much it's head to toe everything. But I didn't say it out loud, and I'll deny it, even though this is a recording.
Yeah, we can flush a toilet over it.
Well, what's amazing is you've heard Ron talk about a universal consciousness, and we haven't gotten as deep into the theory as Ron and Lourdes and Tony and Cherie have, but we've gotten into it. But I can tell you a lot of those stuff that I've always believed because of the experiences I've had with spirit since I was a child makes sense with the universal consciousness experience, because you can always connect, and it there's no way you could connect with somebody that you've never known in a human form, in a spiritual form, when you're still in a human form, if there's not some kind of universal consciousness that connects you.
Beautifully put. Yeah, nature's one true given is experience. Everything we know, hot, cold, ugly, beautiful, delicious, disgusting, everything we know, directly or indirectly through acquaintance, is by experience. Everything. It's heavy, it's cold, it's an experiential state, everything. So consciousness is, we think, what's called an ontological primitive. The one thing when you're explaining reality, like another example of an ontology is the Big Bang. And every belief system has one, you give me one miracle and I'll explain the rest. The Big Bang is one of those things. For us, what's called the reduction base is consciousness. So when you reduce for the purposes of explaining something by the parts that go into it, right? You can take the body and explain it in terms of organs in terms of tissues in terms of atoms, molecules, subatomic particles, etc. At some point, you have to stop reducing and have what's called a reduction base and go, I cannot reduce anymore. I'm going to go in circles and I'm just going to be going back to the beginning again. I'm not going to get anywhere. You have to have one thing you go, this is from where everything could emerge. And for us, that bottom line is consciousness. And everything we know is experience, and consciousness is where we have experience, or how we have experience.
I think I've heard a lot of that over the past few months, Kevin. We do have a lot more people that we've interviewed throughout the years. It seems like it's going more towards this enlightenment, this spiritual awakening that we are all meant to be able to tap into. And it seems like with as many problems as we've been having politically over the past few years with this international catastrophe that we've all experienced, and we've ridden this road together. But I feel that we are all trying to get to a point where we're all on the same page. And I think that if we can all agree that there is a lot of information out there that we can try to tap into, if you only have a positive attitude and get together and help rely on each other and your talents and your investigative tools, and the process is important. I feel that you guys are doing a great job, and it's amazing to hear. I mean,
and having fun doing it.
And having fun doing it. Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Well, the reason we have fun doing it is because, and I actually tell my employees at work, I said, you guys live in what you call normal. What we call normal, you call paranormal.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that is very good.
Any more evidence, videos, audios? Y'all want to?
You want to hear one from an investigation that all 6 of us did together?
Yes.
Sure.
That would be cool.
That's not bad.
And I swear, if I hear a toilet flushing, I will. I'll ask you to play it again, just because I'm a team player. I'll
so,
be the
Audra and I control an 1830s plantation home here in North Carolina, where we bring everybody in for investigations, and everything we make goes towards the Historical Society to preserve the history of the county, right? So the 6 of us are finally together for the first time to do an investigation. And we've been going to this damn house for 3 years, y'all. And out of all of us that have been going to this house, there's a little girl that's in this house. Her name is Sarah. Out of, how many times have we been there?
I don't even know.
We've been there numerous times, and the girls never called our names.
No.
So I'll play it one more time, but to just give you guys all a concept.
Us talking outside.
All 6 of us are outside. Audra and I have been to this house numerous times. We control the investigations. We've been and the one person she keeps calling the name for.
I know who or what that is, for the record.
Really?
It's her bladder.
That's a good one.
Time to pee.
Just speaking of that young girl that was in the house, I actually saw her that night twice. Once standing on the stairs, and Chris is like, "What do you see?" I said, "There's a young girl standing in the corner of the stairs."
Could you identify? Could you tell us what made you think it was a girl? Did you see dress? Did you see
The hair, the dress, she was full color, first full color apparition I had ever seen. Then we were outside, and I saw her lean into the window, and I think Chris again noticed. He goes, "You see something?" I'm like, "She just poked her head through the window." He said, "Yep." Well, then we turned Staticom on, and this was the message that Staticom spit out. Hold on, I just got to select.
Is that the one I was getting ready to? It's probably the same one. I'll pull another one. I know what he's doing.
Okay.
Good. This is so
and audio. All right. So
are they? Yes, next week, and then the next week, and then the next
exactly.
We'll come back if y'all want us to.
No, you will. Trust me, you will.
So after I saw this girl, we went up to the second floor and ran Staticom, and this is what Staticom said. Now that's first and last name, intelligent, and identified the exact experience that had just occurred.
Play it again.
Do it again. Yeah.
One more time.
Not only that, but when a young lady identifies the charming Mr. Rathman, sometimes they might have alternate or ulterior motives.
That's right.
Perhaps,
What does that mean?
perhaps like this example.
This is good.
Oh God.
Okay.
Let's touch Tony. I mean, just the name, just the title.
Kids that are in this house answer our questions. Okay, keep going, please, because I can hear it listen. That was a message anyway. Can you stop?
Let's touch Tony. That
Yeah.
sounds diabolical.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Am I going to throw him down the stairs? Are we going to pull him up by his toes and hang him off the balcony? You never know what their intentions are.
Don't know because it didn't
Just
happen.
one
but
little touch. It didn't
Perhaps.
happen. You're saying it did not happen? You did not get touched that time?
I didn't get touched, but only because Chris stopped him, identified him coming up behind me, and I was freaking out because I could feel him coming up behind me before Chris even said anything.
Like the hairs on the back of your neck kind of feel?
Oh, yeah.
There were two men standing behind him. Yeah.
Okay.
I know, but did
Oh my
Cherie
gosh.
give permission? Because if she already gave permission,
It's her
then
fault.
it's her
That,
fault.
she didn't give permission. That's probably what stopped it all.
I was
Yeah.
the one filming them. That's
Yeah.
why I wasn't there.
You were there.
Oh.
Hey, when the little
I'm the
Asian
one
ladies
filming you guys.
spirits listen.
Let's say it again. What was that, Chris?
I said when the little Asian lady speaks, spirits listen.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Right. As do the rest of us.
Yes.
Wow. You know, I was mentioning, I don't know, I can't remember if it was at the beginning of the show or before we went live, Amityville. What's your all's record? Or
Okay.
you know, your opinion on Amityville? Is it legit? Is it bullshit? I mean, we know that there was deaths. There was like
Right.
legitimate murders, right?
Right.
That's true. That part's true.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
We haven't been there, so we can't really tell much.
Yeah. If you weren't there when
Yeah.
whatever was claimed to be happening was happening, it's just a story.
Yeah.
How do you identify a story? Well, unless you can match up proof to what's being said, calculate it to the timing that it was being said, and correlate all the events, it's just someone saying something, and you have to take it with a grain of salt, because whether it happened or didn't happen, being able to prove or disprove that is a huge undertaking and could take a lifetime of somebody's attention. And
That's the politically correct answer. Give me your opinion.
That's that's integrity, and I admire him for giving that answer, because we can all have opinions about what we think happened, but everything we adhere to in life as an idea, it has some level of myth to it, and culturally today we think myth means fiction. Myth does not mean fiction. It means you take it seriously, perhaps just not literally.
Right.
So there is myth around what happened there, and I believe within that there is some seed of truth.
there always is some.
Right. That is right. By definition, what myth is, and I think the answer Tony gave is fair, because we don't know, we didn't experience what happened, we didn't investigate what happened, and we could have an opinion, but it's not like judging a piece of art when we're seeing the same finished product that the artist made at the time he made it. It's an experiential thing that we have we're spitballing.
Yeah.
I was going to say a very different version, but the same answer of I don't know. I really don't know.
Now,
Tiffany, I think
you want my
Ron
opinion?
just called me an idiot, but it's
No.
so smart that I
Hang
can't.
on. Do you want my opinion? You want my opinion? Because
Let's hear it, Chris.
I have been fascinated with Amityville my entire life since I was a kid.
I've watched the movie, both.
But I am also part Native American.
Mm.
So let me say this. Was there something that controlled Ronnie DeFeo to commit those murders?
Possibility.
Yeah, I'm sure there was something there. It wasn't just something mental. It was something spiritual. Yes. To commit somebody to kill that many people that he cared about so dearly, there had to have been some kind of influence.
Yeah.
Now, was it Native American because of the land? I can tell you right now, being a part Native American and doing research my entire life, I have Native American tattoos on my arm. Nothing Native American would ever push somebody to do something like that.
Mm.
Now, is it still haunted to this day? Energy is only given, is only continued when it is given.
So you have to feed it.
Yes.
Right.
The minute DeFeo left the house, the energy left the house also. The people that own the house to this day say they've never experienced anything. They're non-believers.
But DeFeo, his energy was probably creating all of this chaos and storm of hell.
Contributors. He had mental illness. If you look
Right.
at the documentaries, he had mental illness. He had drug addiction that probably compounded his mental illness. And
all of that is bringing you down.
Yeah, all of that is bringing you
energetically.
down. Now, was there something spiritual that probably invoked him to create something? Maybe a little bit of influence, but not really. Now, is there probably some spirits left there because of what happened in the house? Maybe. There's got to be some energy there from what happened to it. But I can tell you it had nothing to do with the fact that the land was Native American, because Native Americans don't believe in anything like that. There would have been no negative connotation at all. I mean, even with the Skinwalkers on Skinwalker Ranch were put there because they lost their property. It was stolen from them. It was created by war. It was a vengeance type of thing that they did, almost like a curse type situation.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have had that in Amityville. So do I believe the property is haunted? No. Do I believe there was bad energy there caused by multiple reasons that caused DeFeo to do what he did? Yes. Do I
Could he
believe
have
he could go in
opened
and
a
do an
portal?
investigation? Nah.
You don't think so? No.
So you're saying the demon didn't tell the priest to get out?
No, I think that was
the line of the show.
I think that was all. And do I believe portals can be opened by anybody? No, I don't. I think portals that might exist on this on the plane that we live on are all naturally created portals. It has nothing to do with what nobody has the power to open a portal for spirits to pass through. Spirits pass through where they want us to pass through. It's a consciousness. We go where we want to go. It's called free will.
So you're saying that if we have a house that is haunted, there's no way to keep it out?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
You can ask somebody to leave.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe, I truly believe that, like Ron says, with the consciousness, it's all free will. We all choose where we want to be. The only reason people are stuck is because they don't realize that they're stuck. That's
Do you feel that what comes through most of the time are human souls, or do you feel like there's
No, I believe it's human consciousness.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I would agree with that.
So they had to have been on Earth at some point in a physical body?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Could they have been in a different planet?
God, what is this rapid fire, Tiffany?
I'm just picking all their damn brains right now.
Questions.
No, that's a great question.
I'm going to throw this one at you, Tiffany. You say, can they have been on a different planet? Do planets really exist when you think
Correct.
of
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You got it.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay.
We are closing it at
2
10
hours. Damn.
Eastern. 2
I told
hours.
you, we drag on, guys. We will.
No.
It's not dragging on.
It's not
No,
dragging.
there's
Definitely over here, so we're fine.
Badass.
Yes.
we have to do this again because there's just I love the rapport, the vibe. But you all have great stories, and you are going to continue doing your thing and having some cool experiences to share. And I'm interested in knowing what else Cherie gives the other side permission.
I have more. That will be next episode.
I'm doing a EVP session.
How long does it take before this one seal breaks during the show? Can I mute my mic?
So let me just put this invitation out there. If y'all want to have an amazing weekend.
Oh, are you going there?
Coming up. Yep. Yeah. Come up and investigate, and you can go down to the magic tree and see what you can find, and you can go sleep in the dead bed and see what happens there too.
The dead bed.
Come up to where? Where are you located again?
We're in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
So we're about 6 hours, maybe a little bit further for Chris and Audra and Ron and Lourdes.
Yeah,
so, where are you located, Tony and Cherie?
Phoenix.
Phoenix. Okay.
Where it's a dry heat.
Yeah.
They still say that.
Oh,
out there.
it's
Must
dry,
be
all
nice.
right.
Prior.
Dryer.
Drier.
Well, even we apparently live in a rainforest these days.
Yeah, it's been-
Us too. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Very lush outside, but my goodness.
2 hours. This was quick.
It was.
You know, I got to do this with these guys, Tiffany. Just
Uh-oh.
you led
Something
with the
keeps
rapid fire.
happening.
I'm gonna give you all play along. This is little rapid fire Q&A, fun. It's not paranormal related. I'll start with Tony and Cherie, and then we'll just go around the panel.
Did we
First,
get something?
first concert.
First concert.
Yes,
Oh, good lord.
Together or individual?
your first concert.
My first concert, Cheetah.
Cheetah.
Sorry, what?
What?
What is that?
The what's her name? Disney?
Ooh.
The girl at Disney?
Concert?
Yeah, with Jonica, my daughter.
Oh, okay.
In Disney World?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine, I think, was Depeche Mode.
Yeah, right.
It was.
All right.
I can
So-
see that.
I can see
Yeah.
that.
Throw that in our face. Ron, yours. First concert.
If I'm not mistaken, it was Hart and somebody else at the Garden State Arts Center in New Jersey. It was an outdoor amphitheater.
The Journey. Heart and Journey.
I seen Journey afterwards. I
It's
seen
their
Journey.
concert, Tiffany. Don't.
I would have loved to have gone to that kind of concert.
Absolutely.
I'll ask you rapid fire questions. Like, Lourdes, what's yours?
It was Lauryn Hill with that band that she was with
The Fugees?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Fugees.
Fuji, right?
in Harlem, outside in the state.
Strumming my pain with my
Yes.
fingers.
Yeah, I love that song.
Chris, first concert, sir.
Oh, wow. Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Phoenix. It was Bobby Brown, My Prerogative Tour.
Woo! Oh my gosh.
Look at you.
That might have been fun.
Yeah.
You guys are going to so laugh, and I'm totally showing my age, and I was a kid, but it was Leif Garrett.
Leif Garrett.
Wow.
This is gold.
I'm old.
Gold is what.
No.
The baby in the team is not Ron, Lourdes and Chris.
Yeah.
They're the baby.
They're the babies.
Yes.
Never been accused of being that in a long time.
All
I'm
right,
the old one.
Cherie, invisibility or super strength?
What does that mean?
You got to pick one. Which one would you
Pick
choose?
one,
Super
yeah.
strength? or
Superpower,
invisibility?
Cherie.
I guess super strength. I am. What do you think?
I don't choose for you. You choose for yourself. I would choose invisibility.
Me? Or
No.
for you?
That's the way the game works. You're
Okay.
choosing for yourself.
You don't get to choose your spouse's superpower.
Yeah. You can't give it to the spirits, though.
It's
You can't
Cherie
give-
with rapid fire questions. You don't. When I ask a question, you don't come back with a question. That
You
just
just
prolonged. All right, who we got?
What do you like? No, what do you like?
Yeah.
It doesn't work very well.
I know you are, but what am I? Ron.
I'll do superpowers. Or
I would-
super strength, sorry.
Super.
I would do invisibility.
Hmm.
Invisibility. Yeah.
Chris, what do you got?
Look at his
What do you
shirt.
all look? What do you all Wonder Twins? Why are you looking at each other?
You should say why.
I already have
Oh, look
super
at-
strength, so I'm going for invisibility.
He's a bad man.
There's the S. Show the S.
I would do yeah, I would want to be invisible.
Yeah.
Yep.
What would you do with the invisibility? Just
Yeah,
go
come
over
on.
and knock things off the counter and just laugh?
Yeah.
Everybody be like, the
Yeah.
damn person's.
Not to get you guys
purse."
kicked off the air, but yeah, I just want to fuck with people.
Honestly, for me, is because I like peace and people are tiring.
Yeah. You get the energy vampires and
Yeah.
force, and you need the break. Yeah.
Yeah. So to be invisible for a little bit, I can do that. Yep.
There you
I
go.
would love it. I'll travel like that.
Do you like being outside by yourself? Like, do you like
I
taking
do.
long walks?
I love being outside by
Yeah.
myself. Yep.
Okay,
It's funny
I
that
do
you
that
say
too.
that because I was thinking about beginning my walks today because it's so nice outside. I'm going to start walking again.
Yes.
Try to convince them to go on
Beautiful.
walks because I like the outside.
I do too. Every day we go out, and this is just a little side note, and we're, obviously at the end of the show, but my dog and I do go for long walks, and she has a nose for turtles. I have a dog that brings turtles to me. And she is literally, there's days that she's brought 5 and 6 turtles to me on a walk. And she just brings them over, she shows them to me, and we put them down and let them go. But she's so in tune with it because I'm always looking for stuff, and she's always like, I wonder if this is what mom wants, this stinky rock. She likes rocks, I know it, and that's what she calls them. So but yeah, I think that taking that break when you are a person who is overwhelmed by the chaos, you need that cleansing space. So I can see that about you. I like that.
Cherie, real quick, if you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
What?
Period, time frame would you go to?
If you could travel back in time.
Yeah, I would do 80s.
I love it.
Like the 1680s, the 1880s,
1980s.
the 1980s.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
80 BC.
No, I don't want that far.
You still like the technology, right?
No, she's going back for the music of the 80s.
Of time.
Best music.
Best.
Yeah.
Especially with the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Depeche Mode and
like Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
Tony,
I don't
same.
think you watched the Depeche Mode. I don't think so.
You want to bet?
You gotta prove it.
I'm sure I have a picture somewhere.
Really?
Tony, you go back. Where are you going?
I go back to the late 1800s, like really late, like
the 1880s.
Just flipping into the 1900s because I got some really good ideas like eBay, Zoom, Amazon.
You got to get the flights down first. You got to get all the aircraft.
Amazon.
Exactly. No, not that late.
Yeah, you would have to get in touch with the Wright brothers first and get that all.
All right, that's already
McDonald,
planned.
Michael Douglas.
I already got that all up here.
Ron, same. Back in time, brother.
I would say, I don't know. I'm torn between wanting to see dinosaurs and wanting to see like the people who started like EVP work, like Konstantin Radové, Friedrich Jurgensen, like in the early 1900s, when these guys were just bringing this stuff.
Be there.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Did Nikola Tesla have anything to do with any of the projects that you would be concerned with today when it comes to EVP? Do you think that he had anything to do with that? I know he was doing a lot.
Who did you say?
Nikola Tesla.
You talked over it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Tesla.
Oh,
of course. Him and Edison went round and round over who was going to create a device to speak with the dead.
Really?
Complete competition.
I would like to see those conversations written down somewhere.
Yeah, they didn't even keep proof of if they did develop anything. There's rumor Tesla might have and destroyed it, and there's conversations that Edison gave saying he was working on it, then he was fine-tuning it, then he was thinking about it. So they don't even know if he ever even tried to develop anything.
Go back to that time and then come back and let us know about it.
That's what I want to do. I want to go back and talk to those guys about the early voice phenomenon, phone to the dead stuff. And I'd say, hey, I'm Ryan Yacovetti. I'm from the future. This is my friend Tony, and that's Depeche Mode.
I like Depeche Mode. I still listen to it.
1980.
I think it's funny that Cherie doesn't believe you. That's why I think it's funny.
Because I love them and I have it on my Spotify. So he doesn't have any. How do you?
That doesn't mean that he never went.
I don't know.
See what I
It
put
was
up
one night.
See? Even my thoughts get controlled.
I know.
My past experiences get erased.
That's called being a spouse.
Gosh, Cherie, let him play. Let him play along here. All right, I don't know who's next. The same travel back in time. Who's
I would say the 1920s because it's something just about that era that I love. I don't know why.
You and me both. That's exactly where I would have gone.
Yeah.
So you want to go during the Prohibition? You want to just skip the alcohol and have all the craziness?
I don't know.
And then the moonshine.
I want to do all the underground stuff.
Like the railroad?
Yeah, like all the
Underground Railroad?
Yeah. Not the, like the Prohibition and like I just want to. I don't know. I just want to know. I want to experience all the bad stuff and all.
I think it was dangerous.
Yeah, it was. But I want to. I don't know. It's just something about that era.
I'm gonna change mine.
It's her time machine. Let her go where she wants.
I'm gonna change mine. Like the same thing, early 1900s, because I want their dresses. You know those.
It's another thing. I like
dresses.
I do like the hairstyles. I do.
Yes.
And the dresses.
Chris didn't even get to answer, and you're changing yours?
Sorry.
No, Cherie. Our budget only allows for one trip. You already said the 80s. You can't do two trips. Who's next? Chris. Did you say Chris?
Did you answer?
Well,
yes,
I
you did.
Well,
So
I
you're the
answered
same order?
1920s.
Oh, you did. Right.
So why you? For the same reasons or other reasons?
I just think because they were just such on the cusp of so many things, and it was still kind of a gentle era, and technology was really just taken off. So I just
it was a great era.
Yeah, but then you got to worry about the world wars, and I don't know how much fun the Great Depression and everything would have been.
Yeah,
that's true. I thought about that. Though. I did.
I'm just thinking about the sad things that were around then. Also,
you're real truth. Okay. All right, we're winding down here.
Chris's
pet peeve, Cherie. What's annoying
Chris,
you?
you forget. Chris hasn't answered.
Oh, I thought. Oh, my bad.
You're okay.
No, go.
I would have been back to medieval times, King Arthur, back when William Wallace fought for freedom. And the reason I say that is because there was critical thinking. How do we build things that will last? But most of all, why do we do it? It's for the passion of life. Back when life was passion and it wasn't about stupid shit. That's where I'd go back to.
Preach, my brother. Preach. All right. Cherie,
still very violent times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pet peeve.
Pet peeve?
Pet peeve. Something
things that pissed you off and annoy the crap out of you.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna take all night. Shit.
Yeah. Just one. Give me just one. And don't throw
Rapid
Tony
fire
under the
with
bus.
6 people is a little slower than it usually is.
Why is she looking at you, Tony, for the answer?
That's my answer.
She's looking at me because I am her answer.
Tony's your pet peeve.
What was it? I swear to God, what would make this gold is for everyone else to look towards that box, Tony's box for the pet peeve.
No,
Tony, what's your pet
that
peeve?
makes me annoyed. I hate stupid drivers.
Amen.
I hate stupid drivers. It annoys me.
I hate.
Me too.
I hate people that are driving stoned these days.
Stoned.
Yeah, I hate smelling marijuana in the car ahead of me.
I had a friend who
Because
did
I'm
that.
like, what the hell are they doing? They can't be functioning at high capacity right now.
Right.
Yeah, I had a friend who did it. He was driving stoned. He got pulled over. Cop goes, "You know how fast you're going?" He goes, 85. He goes, "You were going 2 miles an hour." Get out of the car.
Get out of the car.
Going too slow. When
Okay,
you get a
done.
ticket for going too slow,
It's called not going. It's like
or not going.
crawling. Yeah.
I
got
don't
hit
even
by
know.
a
I can't keep score
car.
here. Tony,
Where's Tony?
did you give your pet
He
peeve?
did not. Tony's turn.
Yeah.
Don't look at me.
I'm not. I think what really bugs me is, I hate to say this bluntly, but I don't know how else to say it, but just people that interact or try to interact with just plain stupidity. And it drives me like, it drives me crazy. Did you not think that through? What did you think was going to happen? And they just completely unaware and oblivious to what they say, that drives me crazy.
Kind of like wannabe. People like wannabe.
Whatever reasoning, I'm not going to specify reasoning, but just that don't have no reasoning, don't think things through. It drives me crazy.
20 hours. Ron, what you got?
I'll be right back.
I'm going to say it drives me crazy when people refer to the paranormal as a pseudoscience. Or was he agreeing from a distance?
That's Tony here.
ICPs, yeah.
That's my man. Yeah, I saw somebody post the paranormal field will never be a true science if people keep treating it like a pseudoscience. It's not. It's never going to be a science because science, amongst other things, does not entertain the supernatural. It doesn't entertain things that aren't observable. It's an area of study. There's no study called boneology. There's archaeology, and one of the things they study are bones or artifacts within the ground like that. So it doesn't have to be its own science. It never will be. And when people try to say it might be, then it gets pigeonholed as a pseudoscience and that's because that's what's a fake science. A trying to be science that is a pseudoscience with the absence of PhDs or academics, and it's not absent. There are those people in this field also.
Right. Yeah.
So I just hate when it gets people in the field called it a pseudoscience. Drives me crazy because it's not. Science doesn't include moral judgments, aesthetics, decisions, conclusions about the supernatural is a big one on that list. So yeah, that's for me when they call it a pseudoscience. It's not.
Who was it? Was it John Mack? That was the Harvard professor who did a lot into and he did a lot of studies on abductions and the relationship between paranormal and these visitations.
Was it the
he was at Harvard, and
with the kids, the site of the
Brazilian sighting.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that like a mass sighting.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, so even he had problems doing what he wanted to do and research that he wanted to perform, even though he wanted to use scientific method in all of his processes. It still gave him a big stigma. There was still a lot of problems with, even though he tried to bring credibility to the topics.
Wow.
I think there's always going to be that question because it is not it's not concrete, and it's very difficult for a lot of people to perceive things that are not clear to the naked eye, and they don't really have that trust or that belief in anything beyond what is physical and what is here right now. And I think that some people will never get it, though. So we can't relate that and base it on their opinions either.
That's partly a materialist or physicalist philosophy point of view that a lot of people in science will take, and it's myopic as well, because nobody has ever or could describe what it is. What does it look like? Love. What does love look like? What is the weight of my thoughts? What is the length of my love? We can't. So these are all experiential states that we know exist. We can't describe them or witness them from a perceptual point of view. If you were locked up in a room with no light, no sound, couldn't hear, see anything, pitch black, you could still experience joy, arousal, hunger, because those are endogenous states. Those are experiential states. So it's to not be able to witness it and see it is I think a myopic criticism. I don't think it covers everything. It just covers the area that's enough to say, well, see, I don't believe it because I can't see it. You can't hand me 5 kilohertz. Right. I believe that you can have 5 kilohertz. Can't hand it to me. It's a description of a thing. It's not the thing described.
Right.
So that's cherry picking a lot of times, and this happens in theology too. You know, people bash other people, but they cherry pick the parts of the Bible that are good for them, and they discard the other parts that don't, you know, find themselves easy to adhere to.
Yeah, I agree.
What I don't know who's left.
Lourdes.
Yeah.
Oh,
The where are we at?
Pet peeves.
Oh, pet peeves.
Yeah.
For 100.
For 100.
I really don't like when people get too close to me while I'm taking public transportation.
Oh.
Can't stand it.
Personal space.
Oh, I can't
Yeah,
stand
she
it.
does-
I mean, like, I can't stand it.
She does hate that.
Yep. Lourdes, you and I know. Get out.
Yeah. She's like, oh, back up.
Chris, I gotta ask you, Chris, real
problem.
quick. Raise your sleeves up, show your tats, and then Tiffany, look at her. Are those tattoos on your arms, Tiffany?
That's sticker.
Look at your arm, your shirt, or whatever. What is that?
Yeah.
It looks like you have
Yeah.
tattoos all over your arm.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, you're the only Tiffany here.
Yeah,
Yeah, but look, yeah.
If I come out of the closet tomorrow and have tattoos all over me, my mother, even though I'm closer to 50, doesn't matter. She
She'll
would
put you over
still,
your knee.
yes, I would go to the removal immediately.
Tattoos, though?
Well, in our beliefs, it's, you know, desecrating the human body. But as an artist, I think they're beautiful, and I just can't commit to one is my true answer.
Okay, that's a good.
Because I can't commit to something that is going to be on the rest of my life, because I have too many passions about art. So, you know, my whole body would be covered and my kids would not be able to go to Catholic schools anymore. Because I'd have them everywhere.
Any more pet peeve answers? I don't know who has.
I got one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The lack of people's ability for critical thought.
That falls in with my stupidity. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Everybody takes everything for face value nowadays, and they pass judgment on face value. Don't take judgment on face value. Always think through, what is the reason this person's telling me this, and why should I make that my opinion?
Yeah.
Follow
What's
your
the
own
intent?
beliefs. Don't follow everybody else's. Critically think about everything, what everybody's telling you, and where you're going with it, and stick with your personal inner thoughts and moralities. Following somebody else.
Yeah.
Critically think about what they're telling you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Because
Right.
even when people try to say that, it makes sense, it's logical. What is logic? Logic is just a culmination of axioms, which are what? Beliefs that you inherited from somebody else and didn't question. That's not critical thinking.
Nope.
I think I want Ron to give me pillow talk tonight, man. His
That
stuff
didn't
is
sound
just
right at all,
amazing.
Kevin.
I don't give a shit. It just
Hey, listen, he's boosting my confidence because earlier in the show he thought I called him an idiot. Now he wants to bed me. Yeah. The short guy's got game.
Kevin, you have got game. He
It's
says.
all out of
Show
love.
the video clip with the IDIOT.
Oh,
Oh,
what
the
video
what?
clip?
Actually, we have proven that one's true.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good one.
That's very good, Cherie. Very good, Cherie.
Mhm.
Let's see.
Do you have it or not? Or save
Where
it
is
for
it?
the next show?
Oh,
Yeah, I don't have it.
Okay. that's
Okay.
fine.
I mean, I have it. I just don't know where.
Full days and easy nights to the
Genghis.
There's Genghis. Yeah.
the
So I just want to leave. I want to ask one question before we go. When it comes to all of these new opportunities to use AI, whether it be through the visual imagery that you can create, or through just having the conversations and the questions and the answers being created for you through AI. Do you feel that we're going to have an influx of videos and documentation that is so difficult to identify whether it's true or false? Do you think that's going to be a problem? Have you all seen that as a problem yet?
That's a great question.
It's already occurring today. not necessarily with AI, but just with the ability that people have to edit.
Photoshopping is amazing. So
And the way the programs have progressed. I mean, I was reading a conversation just yesterday about people saying you watch a video, you can't tell anymore whether it's been doctored or changed or whether it's real or not. And therefore, picking apart something from a video claiming to be paranormal is an impossibility. With the fact of the AI exposure and what that'll be able to do in the future, will make it extremely difficult. So that problem's already begun.
Yeah.
Even without AI.
Right.
Well, and it eliminates my pet peeve. It eliminates the fact of critical thought. It's the human consciousness, the ability for us to perceive things as we perceive them and interpret them the way that we interpret them is so much more vast than what a computer or software can do. We have limited our own minds by allowing technology to control everything for us, that we've how can I say this? We've limited ourselves and we've limited our possibilities by allowing technology to do it for us. And I think that's the biggest part. And
lazy.
We're getting lazy.
Let's just cut to the chase.
We're getting lazy.
Let me give you an example of what my whole theory is, or my whole thought process is behind that. So when it comes to children, I read an article saying that when children were being introduced to different topics, projects, puzzles, games, by the age of 3, they were looking at the genius potentials of these children. And if they gauged them and tested them, a lot of them at 3 to 5 years old would be considered genius level. And it was like 85 to 90 something % of human children at that age that they watched. They're like, oh my God, they're genius. They're going to be, just massively successful in these special areas. Well, then they go back and look at the education system that they've been placed in. And they've already been dumbed down within 10 years, completely dumbed down to the point where maybe 3% of those proposed geniuses are going to actually be able to have creative thought and be able to think outside the box. So I guess what my fear is that we're going to have stupider and stupider ghosts. That's what I've come up with.
If that's where consciousness goes, you've got a point.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to end the show, but here's the thing, real quick. I've told Tiffany if we did 60-minute shows, I'd be okay with it. 90 minutes is kind of our baseline. Here we are, 2.5 hours, and I could probably still do another hour with you guys.
It's a great conversation.
It is, and it's not just great conversation; it's great people too. So
yes, and then we appreciate all of you. I actually, by the way, wanted to tag. I think what Chris said is profoundly important, because there's something it feels like to write a book or to compose music, to have that passion flow, and why would you want to have a bot do it for you? Because it doesn't have those experiential states. That's one of the biggest science fiction inculcating the culture, to think that eventually AI is going to be conscious. That's not going to happen. If you have a stereo with 8 speakers and a subwoofer, and you add 8 more speakers and a second subwoofer, you don't suddenly have a flat screen TV. If you add more of the same thing, it doesn't become something else. Right? So it's a neural network, and it's masterful, and it will probably surpass our intelligence and ability to cull information and process it. No question. But consciousness is a whole other thing. It's a simulation of intelligence. It's not conscious. And then Dr. Bernardo Kastrup said it so eloquently. You can, on a computer right now, simulate kidney function. Down to the molecular level, you can simulate kidney function, but that does not mean that your computer is going to pee on your desk.
Thank God. One less thing I have to worry about tonight.
It's not the thing simulated.
Right.
And I love when he says that because it really puts a finer point on it. It is the only thing that we do that with, right? We think AI, which is mechanistic, made of circuits and silicon, we think it's going to do what we do as self-organizing metabolistic creatures who have sentience and who are conscious, who feel. There's nothing it is like to be a silicon chip. There is something it is like to be us.
It'll give the appearance that it has consciousness,
right,
but it will never have consciousness. It
right,
will never be able to feel love. Even if it says, I feel love, it doesn't.
Right. Science fiction made that look possible, and that's sad.
When it comes right down to it, it doesn't matter what technology we can produce. The most powerful thing that you will ever experience in your lifetime is emotion, intelligence, and consciousness. And when we start eliminating those, we become a world that just follows whatever's being told.
And love.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My response to AI, Tiffany, the word throb. You figure that out. Well, it is after 10 o'clock, so the kids are in bed now. Real quick, I gotta
yawning. You keep on yawning, Kevin. It's only 7:31 here.
It's 10:30 here.
Yeah.
All right, so I get it. Cherie wants to keep playing. So,
I can keep it going all night. My kids don't go to school tomorrow.
Okay, you know what?
Oh, there you go.
Kevin, you can go because I know you have to go to bed because you got to get your beauty sleep.
I could hang a little longer, but I gotta have, what is your all's take with VR? How with
I've messed with it. I've messed with it. My son has it at his mom's house. And so that's another funny thing. We took him to a VR place in the city, New York City, before he had it. And there's this game, this one simulation you go through, and you're in a facility walking inches above carpet. But you're walking in the simulation across a plank that is like hundreds of stories above the city of New York. And you get vertigo and you feel uneasy, like you're going to fall. And you have all those experiences that come with it. So I look at that and I go, you know what? Therein is another example of why the brain can't be what's creating consciousness, because the intellect is the gatekeeper to the heart. It is what takes what you feel and goes, no. And so if that was something that was your brain creating consciousness, it would stop you from feeling those things, because you would know and you would be thinking, I'm safe, I'm good. But because all we know of experience is what our perceptions give us as sensory input, it feels real because that's the sensory input we're giving it.
Right. Before you put those goggles on, it's just a little ledge like that, but it's on the ground. Well, you got to do it.
My husband pushed me off that ledge.
Yeah. But you still feel the sensation and you still get afraid and all that.
I didn't want to know if I hit the ground. Yeah. It doesn't let me. But
that sounds like a felony.
I don't know either.
That sounds like a felony.
Yeah.
Well, I did it for a purpose. She put the VR goggles on. It was her nephew.
Yeah, they got them for Christmas.
And she's like, oh my God, I'm standing on the edge of the building. And I shoved her. And I did it on purpose. And the reason I did it is because, in my opinion, real life experience is way better.
Well, I don't really want to fall off a building.
Yeah. You thought that was fun. Where do we go to the real buildings?
That's right.
Really experience this.
Her insurance policy is not that big, and her son gets half of it. So it's not.
Right.
It's not but the point is no. Have I ever done I put them on, and it was stupid. Because to me, it means more to me to have the personal experience myself than it is to look through goggles and go, oh my God, that was scary. Fuck that. It's not scary. I know I got the damn goggles on. It's not scary at all. It's not the personal experience. It's not getting out there and doing it yourself. It's not spiritually affecting me by having the glasses on. And that's what I look for in life.
So we have 5 Nights at Freddy's. I don't know if you all are familiar with this. Yeah. So it's like the animatronics that are possessed, sort of. It's like Chuck E. Cheese on crack. And so you go in there and these massive, animatronics that are possessed and demonic, I guess. I don't know. It never really bothers me, and I don't understand the appeal. but I guess that it depends on the program and how you go in and take advantage of the situation. But I keep it still is a little intimidating and a little surreal. So I think
Chris,
I'll stay away from the
can
VR
you please
for a while.
quit vaping, Chris? That is so annoying. It's so disrespectful.
Yeah, I told Kevin about the story.
Yeah, it's his new pet peeve.
Tiffany, we're gonna have to like stop, or we're gonna keep going.
That's true.
I absolutely adore you guys. I mean, it's just it's fun. I mean, it's informative. I mean, I do feel less stupider. That's than I did at 8 o'clock. Tiffany.
That's gooder to hear.
That's gooder to hear.
It's gooder. The pleasure has been ours, and I have to say, it's you guys have like a free pass to come on any fucking time. I mean, this is why I want to do these shows is for the information, but for and have fun. Just you guys are.
That's what it's all about.
That's a life experience.
Yeah.
Yep. This is fun.
This was fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your time.
We had a great time.
Your questions and your audience with us, and thank you for bringing us together with people that we do every Monday night with that we love. And bringing us on so we could chat with you guys too.
Yeah, we appreciate that very much.
Tiffany, we usually kind of let the guests bounce and then we do an ending, but
it's a little late.
Yeah, it's a little late. So you can sign us off real quick. The chat. Thanks for every comment. You all interacting with yourselves. We appreciate your company. For the people watching, give us a thumbs up, like, follow. Give these guys, their links are in our description. Follow them. They do a Monday night show. It is fucking amazing. Actually, it's really, this is what they do on their Monday nights. Same personalities, same kind of information. So give these guys a follow and
appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Take us home, Tiffany.
So thank you for joining us for Universal Secrets on another beautiful Tuesday night, May 28th. We'll see you next week, next Tuesday, same time. Stay haunted.
Yeah.
And check out the Staticom project and get yourself a new ghost box, I guess.
Thank you so much.
Let us know if you catch any.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thanks, Tiffany.
Bye. Thank you.
Good night.
This has been Universal Secrets.